It's time for the Ghostfire Media Network podcast show, featuring the stars of iRacing's IDRL and the AOLL. Now, here's your host, the Ghostfire Media Network crew.
Alrighty, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Ghostfire Media Podcast. And my webcam decided hey, it's not going to work. All right. As I figure this one out. Hey, Justin. That's the weirdest thing in the world. All right, let me
I
just.
was gonna say, you make fun of my webcam
No, I
and
make fun
my
of it because
overly powerful webcam here, just because it happens to also be a studio camera, but you know what? It doesn't do this to me. So, yeah. There's only so bad it can be.
yeah. Uh, I mean, I paid about 1/10 the price you paid for your porno camera, so it's cool.
You know what? Actually, I'm willing to bet not, because this was secondhand and this thing is generations old, but you know what?
All right,
Again,
that looks a lot
Mike,
better. I'm back up and running.
I
All
was gonna
right.
say, it actually looks clearer too.
Yeah, I got the Elgato face cam now.
Oh, so nah, you paid about 1/5 of what I did for my camera then.
Still a lot of money. That's the overkill. But then you got your capture card too.
Who said I paid for that though?
Ah, it is an expense if I went to get it. It would be an extra expense. So, man,
Yeah, that's true.
all right. So, how was your week, Josh?
You know what? Honestly, it was kind of crappy until today. I didn't realize that today was National Bosses Day. And my team at work actually banded together and bought me a rather expensive bottle of bourbon that I'm enjoying tonight.
So, you're saying you're a boss at work?
I am. I run the entire accounting department in my office.
Outstanding. Like, I'm in a boss, so to speak. Depends on what level you want to look at it. And but I also like in the army we got ranks and privates your lowest, and you're like a PV1 or a PV2. Most days, I feel like I'm a PV7, so I'm way up there on the food chain, but I'm at the bottom at the very exact same time. So it's one of those wonderful things that you gotta find balancing acts that you got to do.
You know what, Justin? We'll see what happens.
No. Oh man, but no, I mean I had a great week. Thinking it was it Tuesday or Wednesday? I get my days mixed up. Maybe I think it was Wednesday. The wife out of the blue just said, "Hey, guess what? I'm in Dallas. Come pick me up here in about an hour when I land in Killeen." Surprised me. She's had to keep this thing a secret for a month and a half, almost 2 months, and for her that's an eternity. Like she's the person that buys the Christmas gift on December 1st, and then will like, okay, I'm ready to give it to you. I'm like, no, you gotta wait till December 25th. She's like, no, I'm just gonna give it to you. Like,
No, that's
it's
me.
killing me.
No, that's me. Is I am that person. I'm just so excited to give it to, like, give my wife her gift every year that it rarely ever makes it that far.
Yeah, so for her to keep it a secret, I mean, apparently she told a lot of people, and a lot of people kept it a secret. So she teaches Johnny's kids musical lessons on Sunday nights, and apparently she told them, but then told them not to tell Johnny, so he wouldn't slip up during conversation that we have. I'm like, oh yeah, when Chris will come see you next week or something like that. So everybody was close holding a pick on my daughter because she didn't tell me either. So. I was like, well, you're never getting nothing from me ever again.
And she even commented on the Monday night broadcast when you've been asking her to. So,
Yep. And then I embarrassed the crap out of her. She'll never do it again. Oh, sadly, she will never do it again. But yeah, I mean, I had a great week so far. Had some decent driving throughout the week, not the finishes that I expected, but the racing was fun. Other than that,
yeah, it was. We'll call Wednesday an interesting race,
very interesting.
but I think it's a product of so many people are used to running Michigan specifically, and in the trucks, the standard setup is tight. And the setup that we got was a little more free, and not everyone was ready for it, but we
I
had a
th-
lot of
I think it
side
was
by side.
I think it was more of just a little mistakes that everybody had to just compound it and make the bigger mistakes. So I mean, we'll talk about that when we get to that segment for them. But until then, we have our first guest tonight. His name is Boomer Logan, and he is from the Fuel Racing League. We've been trying to get him on for a little bit, and schedules didn't line up, so we have him tonight. So let's go ahead and bring Boomer inside. Alrighty. Hey, Boomer, it's Adam and Josh, man. How you doing tonight?
Hey, good. How are you guys doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, man. I
Yeah,
hear
we've
you.
got you.
Cool.
Alrighty. Hey, man. Well, welcome. We're at podcast episode like 26, 27, somewhere around there. We're well on our way to having a huge series here. We're glad to have you on. And so what we like to do is we like to get to know who you are, both on the track and off the track. We'll start with that. We'll start with off the track. Tell us who you are, what you do for a living, family, friends, personal life, and then do you have any outside dirt racing or any type of racing experience outside of the sim world, and then dive deep into your whole entire career of sim racer.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, so I guess I'll start. I'm an engineer, mechanical engineer. Actually work at a company that makes steering gears for most of the big three here in the U.S. and a lot of other places across the world and stuff like that. But pretty much wanted to be an engineer my entire life. We live, my wife and I live up here in Owasso, Michigan. So up north here. I think most of you guys are from further down south, right?
No, I'm actually a Cleveland area native.
Oh, okay, Cleveland. Oh, that's right. I think I saw a Browns jersey.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was
On
not
one of
going to
the.
comment on the Bills
Okay,
thing
yep,
hanging in the back.
yeah, yep,
We already have one comment out there.
yep,
Who day?
yeah. My family, both my parents are from the Buffalo area, and so William is my real name. Boomer is a nickname. So when I was a kid, I was Bill, and it was really cool that the Bills were named after me. So I've been a Bills fan my whole life. But yeah, I've been here, grew up here in Michigan. Yeah, my wife and I've been here in Owasso for kind of like central of the state. Been here for about 3 years now. So yeah.
I gotcha. So do you have any outside racing experience, or is it just sim only?
I actually have more outside racing experience than I do sim racing experience. So growing up, I actually raced quarter midgets from the age of about 8 years old to maybe 15 or 16. Um, and did that for obviously did that for quite a while, about 8 years or so. That was probably, that was probably one of the coolest things I did growing up. Getting to race wheel to wheel with you know with kids growing up, and got more competitive over the years. One even was fortunate enough to win a track championship in 2007 at the Michigan Midget Racing Association in Waterford, Michigan. It's kind of a cool story. So I won a track championship in the heavy Honda division that season, and the guy that won in the light 160 division, his name is Eric Jones, current driver in the Cup Series.
That's
It's
cool.
kind of cool to say. Yeah, it's kind of cool to say that I used to race against Eric, and there's a couple other guys that made it up to like the Xfinity Series and stuff like that. But had a lot of fun doing that.
So the question is, would they recognize Boomer Logan's name? Everybody recognize Eric Jones. Would Eric Jones recognize Boomer Logan?
I don't know. It's been a long time since I've talked to Eric, probably pretty much since I stopped racing. So I'm sure, like in conversation, eventually he'd remember. But it's been a while since I've talked to them. But it's really cool to still see people that you knew and that I knew and raced against that are up there. And as kids racing quarter midgets, like that was a dream, right? Like everyone wanted to do that.
Yeah.
And for me, it was a lot of fun. I think about 15 or 16, I got in the car in the off season, and I was like growing it like a weed in high school, and got in the car one night just on like in the middle of the off season, maybe December timeframe, and like my head was sticking through the roll bars. And it's like, oh, it's time. Time to maybe do something else. And at that point, I kind of focused more on school and getting my mechanical engineering degree. But it's back then that was kind of the dream to go to NASCAR, and still obviously a big fan of the sport and racing in general. But so
Have you thought about trying to make it back?
I have. I don't know, knowing a little bit about like what it takes to get up there, it's crazy. I mean, the people that I know that have gotten there had a lot of money to help them get there. A lot of support, a lot of sponsorship, right place, right time stuff. I mean, Eric Jones poured a lot of money and then did really good at the Snowball Derby 2 years in a row to get to where he is, which is really cool. But um, if I did something, it'd probably be like a sprint car, like maybe like I thought about like a micro sprinter or something like that. But I don't know. I think if I did get into it, I got to find more of the people, like the group of people to support, because it's really
Yeah,
you can't
it's
really just do it as a one person. You got to have like a group of people around you to really be successful. So
Yeah,
yeah.
one of the guys on my sim team is trying to finish his Legends car,
okay,
but he built it with his neighbor who happens to be a mechanic,
yeah,
but it's languished
yeah,
to where he hasn't found the time to really take it to the track because that's what kids do to you apparently.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm sure. Yeah,
yeah.
Luckily, I don't have that problem.
yeah.
Yeah, I grew up near the end of high school, starting racing go karts, and I kind of got into that,
Okay,
and I'm coming near like 16, 18 years later. I got I think at the time it was like 12-year-old daughter, and I was like, hey, we're moving back towards my hometown. My dad's gonna be there. Like, let's get back into go kart racing. Like, I want to get my
yeah,
daughter into it because we had like off road go karts up in Maryland. She loved just driving around and doing a whole having fun that way. We got there, and because my dad was a small engine mechanic, so that's kind of he was the one that built our engines and set everything up inside of his lawnmower shop that he had. And
okay,
we had we were the guys showing up with the carts on a either in the back of our pickup truck or the actual we have a lawnmower trailer that we'd go around picking up lawnmowers, so we either had them on that, and that's how we showed up. And everybody else has all these fancy enclosures
yeah,
and everything like that. Got all this money dived into it, and I got my 83 S10 pickup. It's all beat the hell up, and we're just come out there to have a good time. And but I was
yeah,
hoping to get back into it whenever my daughter got there. And fortunately, we found out at that point, I think age 10 or 11 or 12, that she was actually deaf in her right ear. And they're like, yeah, motorsports is probably not going to be a good thing for her.
yeah,
She needs to keep the good hearing in the other ear.
yeah. Definitely,
So yeah, that's
that's
but
cool.
I wanted to try and get into it, but sim racing kind of gets you that itch there, but it's not the same.
Yeah,
Not there. And back in the day, the methanol, the track, you're driving around, and you got that smell and
the
the
smell.
feel
Oh
and
yeah,
the whole
yeah.
everything, man. And it's it kind of brings you back.
Yeah, we had a chance to go to Bristol for the playoff race a couple weeks ago, and that was just like the smell and the environment. It's just like you kind of get back in, and it's just there's nothing like it. I mean,
Yeah,
sim racing, like you said, kind of scratches that itch, but there's nothing like being out, with the fire suit, getting ready to hop in the car, and yeah, it's fun.
yeah.
But yeah, sim racing definitely fits the budget right now, that's for sure. So
And sometimes
So
it can not fit the budget depending on how far you want to go.
yeah, it's I didn't realize like and iRacing probably is my biggest hobby still. I mean, it's obviously not the cheapest thing to really be that deep into after especially with iRacing and buying the tracks and stuff like that. But it's probably one of the bigger hobbies that I have for the most part. So it's fun. It's been fun to get into.
I mean, it can be cheap, but then you want the little bit more realistic, and that realistic comes with a little bit more money, and
Oh
it just
yeah,
continues on, and it's never
yeah.
ending cycle. And I mean, you got to
Hmm.
have people around you that can support you on your endeavors. And my wife
Right.
has been really supportive over this past like 2 years.
You also have
Yeah.
the advantage of not living with your wife right now.
Yes, that's gonna take a little back seat whenever I finally get back next year, and
Yeah.
be able to hang out with her full time again, and be home and then retire.
Yeah.
People talking about retirement.
It's retirement number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But
I'm gonna go back to work. I still have really big dreams and aspirations, and actually getting
Yeah.
paid what I'm worth.
Yeah.
But
so
go ahead.
let's talk fuel.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've been out on track with you.
Yeah.
2 times.
I wasn't
Not
sure
much.
if you'd be on this week or not, because I know, well, the Sportsman Series went a little interesting. I think I ran into the back of you 2 weeks in a row, like the first 2 races, Josh. So
I don't curse anyone, especially in the ARCA cars, because those things have a mind of their own.
yeah,
That-
I definitely got in too hot 2 weeks in a row, and just, I mean, not even close. Like, just sent you. So I do apologize. For that,
Yeah,
but,
no, you're
but it's fun. It's all good.
the only time I ever get mad at someone after a little while is if for some reason you dump me and then blame me.
yeah.
Yeah, I usually try to own up to my mistakes because I know I make a ton of them, but it's fun.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
I mean, it's been for this season, there were so many people from the start, and it's starting to dwindle a little bit, but
Yeah,
we're about to hit the playoffs.
yeah, that's gonna be
And
exciting.
yeah, are you just looking forward to running along with these guys and being able to have the on-track view of everyone fighting it out?
Yeah, I'm usually not. I'm kind of more towards the back, maybe edge of the top 10 in fuel. I mean, these guys are really competitive. Last season was my first season. What was it? The 2021 A season was my
Mhm.
first season with fuel, and damn near made the playoffs. But I had what was it? There were a couple. I got wrecked. After I got through the big one, I got wrecked by someone who was using a spotter, and the spotter didn't call me out at Talladega, and I just kind of got turned randomly in the middle of the straightaway. So I don't know if I would have probably been a little bit closer to the playoffs, but that would have been like a 5th place position versus I think like the 28th that I was scored in. But I was really close to the playoffs, but there was only probably around about 25 people really showing up in the last half of the season there. So it's really cool to see all the people this season, the higher car count, and just to see more people and more competition. Been fortunate enough to be had a couple bad breaks where I got wrecked a couple times, like at Homestead and Darlington, so it kind of immediately took me out of the running in the playoffs ladder or whatever. But it's cool to be a part of it, and cool to see it. Obviously, my teammate Michael Stroll is typically up in the mix, so it's kind of cool to at least be in the race chat and hear him. And he's probably been the one who's helped me the most, honestly, just learning about and I've only been iRacing for about 2 years, so helping me with how to set brake bias, and how to change the steering ratio to help you be a little bit faster and stuff like that, just stuff that I had no idea how to do. And but it's just fun to be a part of that, and see it on the track for sure. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
it takes
that's
a
one
little
of the.
bit.
I was gonna say that's a huge learning curve, especially if you were running
yeah.
quarter midgets. Those were things that you had no opportunity to change.
Right, and I was a kid at the time. Like, I didn't really start setting up the cars until maybe the last 2 years that I ran, and even at that, it wasn't a ton of stuff. Like, I could tell, it's like I knew how much to adjust by, like but not actually making the adjustments myself. So I guess that's one thing that I wish I knew more about, how to like actually set the cars up. But
Yeah, I wish I
but
paid
obviously with
attention to my
fixed
dad.
leaks,
My
yeah,
dad did it
yeah,
because
exactly,
it's like, how much air pressure? He just told me, hey, put this much in here, put that much in there. Okay, Dad,
right,
whatever, Dad. I got you.
yep. I could tell you it's like 2 clicks tight or 2 clicks loose, and other than that, like we had that kind of system. But other than that, I couldn't tell you what adjustments he made. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
So
this also
has
kind of helps with the fixed leaks too, with not having to set that kind of stuff up. But
I about
yeah,
to ask that
yeah,
it's a blessing and a curse because there have been so many times we've just running even with fuel, we've run setups that all I really want to do is make like a little bit of a spring adjustment to make it to where
yeah,
because I love a loose rear end.
yeah. I'd prefer a loose car too. Yeah, tight cars are. I race a lot of tight cars in real life, and they're not fun at all. But yeah, loose is fun. So
And that's part of the reason why I've actually grown to love driving the Indy car because you can make steering wheel adjustments. And thanks,
yeah,
Justin. I was waiting for that one.
yeah,
Yeah.
But yeah, because I I do not do well to where I'll be fast for 5 laps and then my right front tire is gone.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one thing that I kind of had from the get-go. Like even when I started, I didn't really have pace, but I understood how to kind of save tire and save the car at least to some extent. Probably the biggest thing from like the quarter midget days that transfers over to the iRacing stuff is, especially with fuel, is like the racecraft, like how to set up a
Mhm.
pass, and or like how to, like, if you're constantly swapping back and forth, crossing over every other lap, how to set it up to kind of stall them out in the middle of the corner so that by the time you get to the next corner or when they try to get back on the gas, you're in a position where they can't and you can get the runoff and just kind of hold them there for a second to get underneath them.
I need you to teach me how to do that, please.
It doesn't always work well, but that was one thing is I always prided myself on being able to pass and being hard to pass, but not so much in fuel just because, like I said, I'm still not the pace isn't quite there yet, but it's fun.
I was gonna say 2 years is relatively new, and iRacing loves changing everything. So
Yeah,
I mean, it's
you
been
end up lo-
a huge change in just the past year, just on iRacing in general, with all their track dynamics and the way everything's working. And it's even if you were here, I mean, a lot of people don't like the new changes because they were so used to the old one, and now that this those in different variables of different lines that you can run and how you do everything.
right.
don't get me started on the new road tire model.
It's fun how they change. Well, I guess I respect for the engineer in me respects trying to make it as accurate as real world as possible. Like I know they made the change with like the 87 cars because apparently those cars were never loose, like they were always tight back in the day. And when you first got in those things, like man, those things were like driving on ice skates. It was
Yeah,
you could
I
never
didn't. I didn't
find
have it.
grip.
I really didn't have fun. Like, we had this one league, Shine Runners, that I had fun in and was competitive, and then we switched over to the '87 cars, and
Yeah,
because they were the new shiny toys, so let's go. And they did that one, and I'm just like, I tried to do a few races, and I'm like, no, can't do it. And it was,
yeah.
so I was like, all right, nah, that's not the car for me to be competitive or anything of me liking it.
Right. I didn't mind it when it first came out because so when I started, John Gervin, who's one of our teammates, he's actually also a coworker at work. He was one of the guys who originally got me into iRacing, got me convinced to get it, and we used to run a Thursday night league where every other week was a stock car at an oval, and then the alternate was a sports car or something, open wheel car at a road course, and I actually got my first win. There's only 4 or 5 of us that would show up every week, but I actually got my first win at North Wilkesboro in an '87 car because I was like one of the only cars that I could beat those guys in at the time. But so I appreciated it back then. But
I've run one race. It was Darlington. It was only because someone convinced me to run it with him to get the field up to the level that
minimum.
it actually counted,
Okay, yeah,
and I was out within 5 laps.
yeah. Darlington is tough. No matter
And
what stock car you're in, Darlington's tough.
and then I just ended up getting in, moving to just being his spotter, and then it was no fun because after 10 laps he was a half a track ahead of everyone.
Yeah. Honestly, the spotting side of things is kind of fun. Like I feel like if I'd ever try to go into like NASCAR, I feel like I'd probably try to do something like that more so than actually become a driver. I mean, I'm sure it's not as easy, but I listen to the Door Bumper Clear that Dirty Mo Media puts out. It's just kind of fun to hear the spotter's perspective and stuff like that. Like, there's definitely a lot of
It's an
respect for what
art.
those guys do
It's a
too.
very
Oh
much of
yeah,
art.
yeah,
They just say so much stuff, but
so fast.
you gotta communicate that, and you gotta be able to know that your driver knows what you're talking about when you do it. So you gotta have very cohesive relationship with your driver to be able to do that. It just
Yeah.
can't just like wing it, like, hey dude, you wanna be my spotter? No.
Yeah, it used to be, kind of what they talk about. It used to be like that back in the day, but now, like, there's a lot of information, and you kind of have to have that chemistry almost, just like a crew chief does. So
Yeah,
So
I actually fell in love with that spotting running the 24 hours of Daytona
okay,
this past year because I was up at 3 a.m. to finish out the spotting for the person that I was taking over for,
yeah,
and then you do it for the person that takes over for you for half of their stint. And
yeah,
surprisingly, it was just a lot of fun because I'm
yeah,
sitting there. hopped up on Red Bull and being like,
Yeah,
okay,
just
figuring out, okay, you're going to catch the next car at this specific turn. You have this car coming up on you. They'll catch you in half a lap. And
yep.
it kept
Especially
me
with the
more on my
multiple.
toes than running.
Right, yeah, I like the classes too, especially like if you're if you're not the top class or you're the slowest class, you're either always catching someone or someone's always catching you, which is kind of cool. But I
Luckily,
got
Adam and I were in the top rank.
Yeah.
We were
yeah,
the LMP.
that helps a little bit.
And our buddy Rick, he made the paint scheme, so we went like with a Menards kind of yellow and blue. So our
I love
LMP had the bright yellow in the front and blue in the back, and
That's cool.
our vet was the opposite because they would think that the LMPs are going to catch them. So we put the bright color on the back and put the blue up front.
I love that. That train of thought is hilarious.
And we were so close. I think we were like 50 iRating points difference between being in the same stint with our two teams. So
Yeah, that's
unluckily
cool.
we were not able to. That would have been more awesome to be able to be in the same stint as our other counterpart team, but we were unable to, just by just so little of iRating points.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because it goes by the person who registers, right? Or is it like an aggregate of
It's an
everyone?
average of
Oh, it
the
is. Okay,
entire team.
Yeah, I know that. So John and I and a couple of his buddies wanted to do we want to do a 24-hour race, but like I just recently got my you have to be a C license, I think,
Mhm.
at least in road, and I got that right before the summer hit when things got busy and we just didn't really have time to do as much stuff. But
So
I will tell you, it's a blast.
yeah,
And if you do it, don't do short stints. Don't do 1 hour
yes.
stints.
don't do them. Okay,
Uh,
do the long ones. All right, I
do
will.
it's got to be a minimum of 2 hours, 2 to 3. I think
Okay.
it's a good thing. We had 8 drivers because we didn't know what to do, and we had 1 hour stints. I mean, you waste 30 seconds every hour to swap out, and so it puts you behind the power curve there. And then, I mean, the amount of time you can actually drive on, you could do about 2 hours on the same set of tires, basically, and
Okay.
it
And
helped
I
out
did
for us.
that. I did that
Yeah.
later because we had one guy that didn't show up for his stint. So the person that was after him, we just decided we're going to go long. And it was actually comfortable. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't feel bad, but you also don't want to be the only person that makes it to where you have to park it for 10 minutes
Yeah.
for repairs,
Yep.
like I was.
Yeah.
First lap, turn 1.
Yeah, that's what I'm the most worried about because I've got all like this real life oval experience. I'm super comfortable on an oval, but I am not a road racer at all. Like I enjoy it. It's been a lot of fun to learn it, but I do not have the confidence like some of the guys do in our league to just send it in the corner on those on any of the road courses really. So it's
So
crazy.
we got a question from Justin Anderson out there. He says,
Okay.
based on your background, are short tracks your favorite type of track to run?
I do like short tracks. I love watching them in real life. I love racing on them. My best tracks in iRacing have been like Vegas, Chicagoland, and Homestead for whatever reason. So those are probably for me the most fun in iRacing. But I really enjoy short tracks. I mean,
So
bumper to bumper, beating and banging is probably the best kind of racing there is in my opinion.
okay, I'm gonna go with follow up that this
Okay.
Monday we're going to Martinsville.
Martinsville. Yeah.
So what's your likelihood of that one?
I finished 11th there last year. So I am hoping, or in the 21A season for fuel, I'm hoping to pull out a top 15 maybe if I can. Obviously, a lot of it's just keeping the car clean, but we'll see. I'm gonna try. I know it'd probably be a long shot for me to go up there and win that last playoff spot or one of the playoff spots, but it'd be fun to. I usually have a little bit better pace there than some of the other tracks. So
If there's one thing I've learned, I would call Martinsville almost as much of a wild card as the super speedways. Because
yeah.
I've seen some wicked wrecks from the top 2
Yep.
on restarts.
That and the track position is just insane. Like if you have, for whatever reason, if you get that track position and can hold off people and cautions just keep coming behind you, I mean, look at all the people that have won at Martinsville in the Cup Series or Xfinity Series. Some of them are wild cards just because they can get that track position and hold it. So
I think I've
yeah,
raced at Martinsville like 3 or 4 times over the past year and a half, and league races maybe more than that. And I don't think I've passed a single person actually on the actual track after not including restarts, but like once we
Yeah.
actually go green for 5-10 laps, if more. I don't think I've ever actually like, hey, I'm gonna dive it in deep and pass him by. It's always been, oh, you
Yeah.
just screwed up. Oh, he screwed up too. Oh,
Right.
that's another spot.
Oh yeah, that's one of those things where it's like especially the top guys in this league, like, I can run with them for like a lap or two, and then I make a mistake and they're just gone,
Yeah.
and that's especially on the short tracks, like I mean, Michael Stroll, Bressie, Elwood, all those guys that are usually up in the mix, like, they don't really usually make mistakes. I mean, everyone does eventually, but like the amount of mistakes that they're making is like, that they're this far off the
It's-
line. I'm like this far off the
Yeah.
line. So, but it's fun. Hopefully, yeah, we'll see. Hopefully do good at Martinsville.
All right. So, final question here. Who do you think's going to win this Friday? That's what we do here, or this coming Monday. That's what we do at the end of the segment. We try to figure out, point out who's going to race their way into to be the winner circle in that race. So, Martinsville, who do you think's going to win?
Oh man, that'd be interesting. Trying to think. It'll be I'm gonna pull for I'm pulling for Michael Stroll, my teammate, mostly because he's finished second 17 times, I think, now in league races and hasn't won in a while. So maybe I'm pulling for him for the teammate side of things, and I think he could get it done. So maybe I'll go with I'll stick with the team. I'll go with the team. I'll see. I'll root for Michael there.
There's nothing wrong with that because you
Yeah.
know what? At the end of the day, you don't want to have to hear it at once you get into the section.
Yep. Yeah. There's a lot of guys up there that I think could get it. I know. I think Elwood won it last year or last season, I should say, at Martinsville, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I'll pull for the teammate there and see him. He's probably pointed in already for the playoffs, but I'll see. I'll pull for him. So.
Sounds good, man. Hey, it was fun having you out here tonight, man. We appreciate you being able to come on here and letting the fans and the viewers out there know who you are, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Since they announced that we do this deal, with Ghostfire Media and Fuel, I was excited and I was like, I got to get on this podcast. This is such a cool thing. So
I was gonna say it's fun to
Yeah.
chat with everybody.
Yeah.
absolutely, it's good to get to know you guys a little bit better, and yeah, appreciate you guys picking me for this week. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we only have such a short time for this season, so we only get to have so many people on. There's like 40 something drivers in Fuel that
Right.
are off and on the whole entire series. So we're it's going to take a while to get everybody on here, but that's our goal, is to get every single person on here and let the viewers get to know who's on in the season and who's going to be racing in the series and get to know them more.
Yeah, appreciate it. You'll probably find me closer to like the 10th to 20th place, so watch for me back there. But it was always fun.
Hey,
Appreciate being on.
don't worry. That's where
Yeah.
I was when
Yep.
I ran.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
that's why you managed to get into the back of me a
Exactly.
few
Yep.
times, and it's also why my car is bright pink in the
Yeah.
back, is so you don't miss it.
You do not miss it. That's for sure. It's a good looking car. I like the pink. It's good.
I gotcha, man.
Cool.
Hey, man, well, enjoy your rest of your Friday night, and thanks for coming out.
Yeah. Thanks, you guys too. Appreciate it. Bye.
See ya. All right. So that was the wonderful field chat there with Boomer Logan. The man's a great background, the small world, so to speak. You're racing with a driver who's raced with the pros. So, it's
Yeah,
kind
you don't get that often in Northeast Ohio, though.
yeah. I think the closest thing I've got for that is a family member went to Myrtle Beach Speedway back when Joey Logano was still running races before he was become famous. They went and saw him race there one time. So that's the closest to, I've had somebody do something that I know. So on that note, let's bring up our next guest, Mr. Patrick Gaspar. He is one of the top runners here for IVRL. Hey, Patrick, it's Adam and Josh, man. You got a copy?
Yeah, how you guys doing tonight?
Too bad. I see that you got my reference in the last interview.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, spinning tires at Martinsville or Darlington, they go hand in hand synonymously because I think we did twice at Darlington and once at Martinsville. We'll find out in about a week and a half if that's going to come true to both tracks to get a huge spin out in the restarts.
I mean, hopefully it doesn't happen again. And there's a lot more on the line now, so I hope everybody learned their lesson the first time around and be a little bit more careful this time.
I mean, the first time I ran, I just got dogpiled, so I really didn't learn anything other than hopefully other people can hit the brakes before I can.
Well, I mean, I was outside pole and thought I was going to get a black flag for crossing the line before he did. I'm not going to name his name. I'm sure we all know who it is, but yeah, just I thought I was going to get black flag, so I didn't go, but he spun his tires.
Yeah, don't worry. I have a meme up there. That was back when the ship was stuck in the canal. So I put the ship on the front of the straightaway there, or actually the entry of turn 1, and just saw a huge pileup of IVRL back when we had like 35 cars showing up on that Tuesday.
Yeah, and it was a very epic meme at that, and I give you a lot of props for it.
Oh man, it was fun times, man. But hey,
We've come a long way since then.
Go ahead and reintroduce yourself. I mean, it's been a while since you've been on here, so go ahead and tell the fans of who you are, personal life, real life, and sim life.
I mean, how long has it been? I mean, my name's Patrick Gaspar. I drive the number 86 in iRacing. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just IVRL. I'm probably going to go to Erskine next year. I don't know what my plans are for next year yet, but other than that, I'm trying to get into four-cylinder dirt racing down here in Georgia, and it just depends if their main driver is going to show up or not. But I'm on standby every single weekend.
I gotcha, man. So right now you're looking pretty decent. I mean, we got two more tracks coming up here. We're going to Kansas this Tuesday, then Martinsville. What's your outlook going into Kansas?
Honestly, pretty crappy because I really don't like these cookie cutter tracks. Just I've never been good at it. I've kind of surprised myself this year of how well I've run. I don't know why, but it might be the new competition of Causey and his team just pushing me just to do a little bit better. But overall, I don't really see too much coming out of it. Maybe, top 5 again, but it depends on fuel mileage and what's going on with the stages and whatnot.
I got you, man. So what was your thoughts about this past week at Texas? For me, I thought it was a really great race. The 1 and 2, just it takes a lot of patience to actually run that corner and get a good run off of it. And didn't get to finish I wanted to due to, unfortunately I smacked the wall while leading, and apparently iRacing says it wants to take away engine for right door damage. So that just killed the rest of my race.
I really hated it for you. I was happy you were up there and got the pole and running so well. And honestly, Texas is one of my least favorite. That's probably like one of my most hated tracks because once they repaved it, I am not a fan of it. And to win stage 1 and do what I did, and I just miscalculated the fuel mileage and what tires we had, and that kind of screwed me for the last stage. And I don't know, man. I didn't really have my head straight for, I guess, the pit strategy that night.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, going into it, I was like, I know I need to have a good stages and trying to get the mostest points. I surprised myself by getting the pole, and then when I got out there, and I think it was lap basically 1 or 2, the incident happened between some freak incident happened between Causey and I think Charles was there and a few other people, Dalton. They're all right there in the mix, and that basically gave us about a 5-second lead there. And I was just like, hopefully, all three of us would kind of just band together and just run away for the competition for that stage one.
Yeah, I was all for it. I was pretty content to be just following you and Weatherby, and let's just pull away from everybody. I had zero problem with that. I mean, coming into this round, I have enough of a cushion just to, just finish top 5 or whatever, just to make it to Phoenix and make the Final Four. So,
Yeah, I mean, to me, I liked the race. It took a while to realize it wasn't aero damage for me. It was engine. I think it was at the end of stage 2. I was like, there's got to be a reason. I've already fixed all my damage, and aero won't make me like lose the draft. It won't do that. So then at the end of stage 2, I was actually in the driving around trying to save some fuel there. I clutched and I was at like, I think 1750 or 1800 RPMs. I was like, that's why I can't keep up with the draft, and then just leave me after the tires start to wear off a little bit. I was like, oh, okay, that's why my night went to crap.
yeah, I mean, once pit cycles are going around, I saw you back in lead. I said, well, damn it, if everything goes well, Adam might get a top 5. Like, who the hell knows if everything plays out? I mean, you were doing everything right, for what was played to you after that damage.
Yeah, I had to do a quick. I decided to undercut the pit cycle there on the first stage. I was like, okay, this is the best shot I have for stage points. Stage 2, I won't take tires. I'll do fuel only. I'll probably run it dry, so whenever I get down to the end, I'll just have basically a short fuel run. Put in like 3 or 4 gallons to get me to the end. So it's only one fuel can and get me there. And then I was able to take over the lead again, but then you came through because I'm down on horsepower, and then next thing you know, Cody and I think Miz, they came out of nowhere as well and passed me right as the stage ended, so driving back to 4th. So I was kind of upset that they were able to catch me, but now I found out, at the end of stage 2, I found out why they were able to catch me. Now, it kind of pissed me off that that simple mistake of me over driving turn 1. I think Nick kind of got. I think he drove in the corner a little bit harder, and Arrow pushed me in the center of the corner, and Arrow push sucks, and kind of just kept pushing me up in the out of the corner there.
Yeah, the Arrow definitely sucked all night. It didn't matter fresh tires or long run. Just if you're behind somebody, you were gonna push. It really did not matter, and I really don't know what else to say about the race other than I don't know. It kind of sucked. Like, I felt like I was running well, and I miscalculated. I thought we were only going to pit once in the final stage, and we had to pit 2 times, and that kind of screwed me over. So
yeah, we were in our chat. We were like, he took another set of tires. He took another set of tires. He took another. He's done. He is
done. Yeah. When Dalton came in so early in the final stage, I was like, I did something wrong. I don't know what it was, but I definitely did something wrong. I don't know what it is. And then like 5 laps later, I'm like, I know what I did wrong. Crap.
I thought he did something wrong by coming in there early, but he did something right.
I thought the same thing at the beginning. I was like, why is he coming in so early? And all of a sudden, I'm like, well, damn, he's way ahead, and he's got the advantage. I don't know what else to say about him.
Yeah, so I ran the tank basically dry there at the end of stage 2, and I came in, grabbed 4 set of tires and fuel, and that was my plan. So I would have fresh set of tires going into stage 2. I was hoping not to get lapped down, but I was able to, and to get the lucky dog, I think, to go or wave around 1 or 2 and get back on the lead lap there. But I knew I was going to be one of the first people pitting because of that. And then, I'm in a team chat. It's like, yeah, I'm probably the first person pitting. And Dalton's like, no, buddy, I'm already done. I was like, holy crap, why are you pitting so early?
Yeah, he kind of got you there. He got everybody there, to be honest with you.
I didn't think it was work out. I didn't think the cycle of tires of what he was doing was going to work out in his favor because we were still kind of midway through our tires and for the tire run there. I mean, we're only running 65% fuel, or no, 60% fuel there. And he came in like, 20-30% of the way through the run, if not probably at the latest 40% of the way. So I was like, he just wasted a set of tires to do that.
Yeah, when we went to the final stage, I was like, all right, I need to make it to this lap and this lap, and I'll be good on tires. But when Dalton came in super early, I was like, he definitely saved the set, and he's gonna just destroy everybody, and we're all screwed. He's gonna win. And I saw Causey saving fuel too, and I was like, it might be close. I don't know what's gonna go on with P1 and P2. I know I'm out, and I know quite a few other people are out, but I was looking at their strategies. I knew I messed up, and I was like, that's going to come down to them too. So,
yeah, I saw Charles. Like I'm riding behind Charles, like under stage and cautions, and his rear end looks like a crumpled up beer can in the corner, and he's outrunning me. I was like, this is the dumbest thing ever. Why is he outrunning me? I barely had any damage. I fixed it, and everybody's leaving me. And so it was kind of heartbreaking to put in so much work to have that little bit of damage that the iRacing model just said, screw it, you're done.
yeah, I hear you on that. I think it was maybe a year ago. I got hit on the right rear quarter panel, gave me 10 seconds, 15 seconds of damage, and I was down like 300 RPM, and I was out of a race. Unbelievable. I don't know. They need to fix a few things, but it's going to go in through deaf ears, so whatever.
I got you, man. I'm looking forward to Kansas. I last week, I like turns 3 and 4 at Texas, but Kansas is, more of a wide open upper groove somewhat track with that bottom dive / slide job, and I like the fastness of Kansas, so I'm looking forward to it.
I wish I could agree with you, but like I said, I am just not a fan of 1.5 tracks. I can't. I'm more of a unique track. Like, give me a flat track, give me something that's different. That's where I excel. I can't do Charlotte, Atlanta, Texas. I can't. I try. I'll do my best on it, but I feel like just other people excel on it more than I do. As far as a unique track, I feel like I'm better on something that's different,
And that's where I'm opposite. I like Phoenix. Like we have Phoenix as the finishing. So I'm like, I'd be so thrilled to get in the top 4, but that spot is completely wasted on me. I think it'd be like an honor to be in that 4th spot or whatever if I could make it in the top 4. But me being a winner at Phoenix will never happen. Like unless it's like 3 other mentally challenged drivers out there. So maybe Nick, if Nick was out there.
I mean, don't forget what happened at Phoenix early this year. There was a lot of top contenders that couldn't finish, and they spun out. They made mistakes.
I understand.
I mean,
just straight up though. If it was straight up racing, say it's like Causey's already locked in, you're close to being locked in. If it's maybe Nicholas Weatherby or Charles Urick and me, something like that throws it in there, or Cody McKinney and me, or something like that. It's going to be wasted. If it's just a straight up, the way these races have gone, not many people have made any mistakes. It's not a road course, so the mistakes that are going to be at Phoenix is little to none, so to speak. I mean, there's always that risk of running a little bit too hard out of turn 1, but that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a crazy year. Anything can happen. Last year was pretty much black and white. We knew what was going to happen week to week. It was me and Jim Ott and a handful of other drivers. But it was anybody's game. But this year, it just seems like it's going to come down to who can be perfect from start to finish. And I feel like that's who's going to determine the champion this year.
And sadly, that that kind of falls in the wheelhouse of Joseph Causey. I mean, the amount of staggering wins that he's accumulated all this whole entire year, I mean, it just, the consistency has been there for him. No matter if it's a track that he said he's horribly or awful at, he's comes back and was like, oh yeah, I got to win there.
And at the same time, I'm like, do I want to talk a little trash? Do I not? I mean, he's good. Don't get me wrong. At the same time, it's like he's kind of fallen off a little bit. I don't want to take anything away from him. He's great. He's a great driver, but he's a little bit off lately.
But he's still there at the end. He might not be there.
Oh,
all the way
absolutely.
At the middle, but I mean, he's throwing out their strategy of trying to figure out how to run the race, but he's there at the end. Like last week, he wasn't running up front hardly at all on Texas, but where did he finish? And because Dalton was just phenomenal with his strategy, and he's pretty fast guy as well.
That's true, but how many weeks are we going to go back where it's like, are you just going to go off strategy now, or are you off? Are you good, or are you off? Are you depending on your teammates that are no longer here? What's going on? Like I said, I'm not taking anything away from him. He's a great driver. I'm just saying he's a little bit off lately.
Well, I mean, but at the same time, he doesn't have to be on. This dude didn't even have to show. He just had to start and park these 3 weeks, and he would have been locked in no matter what. Me being 6 points underneath the cut line going into Texas, I could have won every stage in the race going forward, and I would probably still get the same amount of points or still be trailing him going in the Final Four.
Oh, dude, it is cutthroat right now for the Final Four. I mean, I thought Cliver pretty much did a flawless race, and he's still below the cut line. Carino had some bad luck there on the initial caution, or the lack of there. And Weatherby, I don't know what happened with him. I don't know if he sped on pit road or whatever happened on pit cycles.
His crew didn't change his tires.
Oh, okay. Well,
he pulled in, got fuel, and drove off, and then had to come back around, and ended up.
Yeah, I didn't know what happened there. I saw him outside the top 10. I was like, all right. So Cliver's up here. I knew he was -6 or something. I thought he was gonna be above the cut line. I look at the point stands afterwards, and I'm like, well, crap. All right. That's just the way it is. We have a minimal field right now. We don't have too many competitors. Just pretty much everybody is competing for the title and a couple other guys, and it's going to be cutthroat from here on to, I guess, on to Phoenix. But really, the next 2 weeks it's going to be cutthroat.
Yeah, I think that really throws into the fact of how this league is coming down to. We're getting about 12, 13 people who showed up. We got 8 people. There's no spacing out for the points. Everybody's getting points. And it's like, how do I maximize those points? There's only a few people that, will go in there. You got Nick Goebel, you got Dalton Tucker, Miz when he shows up here and there. So you only have a handful, not even a handful, you just barely a few people that are not in the chase. I forgot Harvey's there now. So, and Joey. And so you got, basically a handful now with those names, but they're the only ones that kind of are thrown in the mix. If we still had a 20-30 car field, it would make this these points racing a little bit, I wouldn't say easier, but I think it would be a little bit more spread out than where it is now. But right now it's basically every position, every spot at every stage and finishes is monumental.
Yeah, it's definitely a shame that we can't get more guys in here towards playoff season. I've been trying to talk to Cody and Randy. We got some other stuff going on behind the scenes. Probably best of the rest payoff, or some sort of incentive to stick around the entire season when playoffs hit. Like if you're out, stick around, we're going to give you something, whether it's your entry fee or, a prize, something. So there's a lot of things that's going to go on during the off season between now and February that we're we're talking over and trying to figure out, just to get guys to stick around. Just so there's not, 10 to 15 guys at the end of the year.
Gotcha. All right, so coming to the end of the segment here, who do you think will have the best chance of winning at Kansas?
I mean, if Dalton shows up, I got to go Dalton. I mean, if I was a betting man, it's got to be Dalton because he's had a handful of starts and he's won a handful of those starts. Other than that, in the Truck Series, I came close last year in the Truck Series for IVRL. But, because he's the top guy to beat, so can't argue with that.
I gotcha. Yeah, I think it might be Cody's time to shine. Cody's been up there battling nonstop, but he just has not got that finish. And I think Cody's fighting for everything he has now to stay in that top 4 position. I think he's going to pull out a miraculous win on Tuesday night. He's probably going to wreck me to do it.
Well, I mean, you never know. I mean, Cody's a competitor, so he's pulled stuff out of his, So we'll see. If anybody's going to do it, it's going to be him.
Yeah, and yes, I did. I just gave you the commentator's curse. Suck it. Oh man. Well, I know Josh has been silent. He doesn't really watch IVRL too much, so
it's more. I've also been dealing with the cat that won't shut up.
Yeah. Yes. It's very strategic. I can't. It doesn't matter if I try to give the commentator's curse to Causey because he is already locked into the chase. So there's no point of doing that. I have to do it to a competitor that is still racing to get in there. So yeah, Cody, you're gonna win, bud. You got 2 thumbs up. You got this.
Let's see. Let's get the McKinney Racing team in there.
All right, man. Well, hey, man, we appreciate you coming out tonight and being here on the podcast. We really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me.
All righty. Have a good night.
You too, man.
All righty. Well, that was our IVRL guest. I'm looking forward to Kansas. And what I like is there's actually AI race there. You can actually do that. Texas, they still have not been able to get AI racing there done yet. So it's hard to practice because I don't want to feel like throwing up a server for myself. And
I mean, you also have to look at it this way, that no one really wants to run Texas.
Yes. The old Texas 1 and 2 was awesome. This new Texas is like, no. 3 and 4 is fun.
Yeah, 3 and 4 is generally flat out, but no. Texas, I don't like.
I like the AOL setup they had. I mean, it wasn't flat out. It's not flat out there. It's loose now. So, I went out there and did some qualifying laps last night, and the rear wants to step out. You can't just go flat out. You got to kind of burp it going into turn 3. So, if you want to hook the bottom line, if you want to run a little bit higher, you can still run flat out there. But if you want the quickest line, which is around that white line, you got to actually you got to manipulate the throttle a little bit going into turn 3 to hook the bottom.
From what I've heard, it's a good setup, but I'm afraid of it a little from what you just described.
I think it, people have to have that patience on the first 2-3 laps. I think it settles in right after that, and provides a really good balance over the long run. I mean, but whenever the setup feels right at the beginning, it doesn't feel right at the end. So hopefully this gives a lot longer of a balance throughout the whole run. So we're waiting on our next guest. He just sent me a message. I don't think I'm in the right place in Discord.
I just see him.
Yeah,
he's not in the waiting room, but he's here.
You can't see it because he's not a self-described podcast guest. Let's see.
We're just bringing him on.
All right, let's. I can't. Okay, there we go. I grabbed them 4 times, and the fourth time I was able to actually pull them in. Hey, Brandon.
Hey, what's up?
All right.
Evening, good sir.
So our podcast guest tonight is going to be Brandon Bernhardt from the AOLL. So we're going to have him on. I think he's going to be a great guest. He is running for the season champion in every league. So that's why we wanted to bring him on tonight. Get his, pick his brain for TNT Sportsman and Cup Series.
We aren't going to talk TNT? What? The fact that he just literally ran away with it last night?
Yeah, so
You weren't there, so
Well, I'll be back after this week. The time off that I was taking for concussion protocol, I felt no different. So you know what? I'm back.
Oh man. So let's talk about last night, man. So, what was your first impressions when you got out on the track for the first time there at Auto Club and that wonderful ARCA car?
I was pretty nervous because first few laps I tried to use that bottom and I couldn't make it work. I couldn't get down there and be quick and not lose it. So I was pretty nervous because I could work the top and the medium lanes pretty well. I was afraid that it was going to be a bottom heavy track and it was going to be a rough night, but I started running the top more and more, and I started getting quicker lap times, and had the quickest lap time until John beat it at the end of practice. So it kind of seemed like the top side was going to be the preferred lane, at least early on. I didn't get a long run in. I kept putting it in the wall, so I didn't get a real long run in. So I didn't know how I was going to act in traffic and then in the long run. But thankfully, the top side was preferred night the whole night.
I got you, man. Yeah, after I got done with my IBRL race, I hopped into the TNT practice on Tuesday night because I love Auto Club, and then the ARCA car is a wonderful car to kind of throw around a little bit. So I hopped in there, and I think Dave was in there practicing. So I went out there and I ran a couple of laps and then try to figure out the settings because I haven't ran an ARCA car in forever. And so I figured out the settings and came out there, and dude, I loved it. It was fun to be able to rip the high side and flirting with disaster, both with on the throttle response of the car wanting to come around, and then also flirting with the wall on the outside. It was trying to find that fine line of disaster versus success on a fast lap.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. The ARCA car is a lot of fun at a lot of tracks, especially intermediates. Last night you could get in the top, and I would get it off of a little earlier than about mid turn, a little before you could just get on the throttle and it like rotate for you. It was really, really nice. You don't get that a lot of times in the Cup car or even the truck, really.
No, that's one of the things I've actually loved about the ARCA car is unlike those, the setup feels tight, but it has just enough power to where you can break the back end loose if you're brave.
Yeah,
And
it's a lot of fun.
I love that.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping the Texas setup's kind of like that on Sunday for the Cup Series.
From what I've heard, it is.
Yeah, a little bit I practiced with it when we were trying to find a decent setup because I've heard from multiple drivers that the stock setup was pretty crappy, super tight. So we needed to really wanted to work on getting a better setup out there, and I think we did. Hopefully it's not too loose, but in the practice it felt pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, the ARCA car set up, last for Thursday night, last night. Yeah, there we go. Think about days here, man. But yeah, it was loose as a goose to start off with, and man, but it was also fast. I felt like I was on the edge, and I wanted more speed at the same time. Running up there, and I was trying to help Dave out there. He just didn't want to let loose. He still kind of want to be reserved. I tried to ride behind him, give him a little bit of bump, like, let's go, man. We got to put the foot to the throttle here. This is how you're gonna run this track. But he had to I think he had to go back and recalibrate a lot of his actual steering settings. But trying to get a different offset and everything to work for him to find that balance to control that car, because that steering ratio it plays a huge thing in that car, because that car, it's either going to be like tight or sloppy, depending on what track you're at. So trying to help him out on Tuesday night was kind of fun to be there and doing that.
It's the first thing I check is the steering ratio every time I get into practice. I think last night default was 10-1, which is crazy. I bumped up to 14-1 right away, and that's what I ran with the whole race. I think John ran 14-1, and ZD was going to try 16-1, didn't get the shot to. But yeah, on the intermediates, I usually run 14-1, maybe 16-1, depending on the car and the track. But that's something last year I didn't do. Like I would run 10-1 or whatever the stock was. I didn't mess with that. And that's been huge on the intermediates with tire saving. 14-1. You're not turning it as much, or you can be smoother with it basically than the 10-1. It's helped a lot.
The only person that basically runs 16-1 unless it's a short track.
I do
Yeah.
90% of the time run 16-1 depending on uh, how it feels. If I feel like it's got a dead zone in the center of the corner, center of the steering wheels, I'm doing it. If there's like a little bit of play, then I'll drop it back down to 14-1. But I even for Michigan on Wednesday night, I broke out the 15-inch wheel and went to 16-1. So it was a gigantic wheel, and was able to run at 16-1. It was butterly smooth up there.
Intermediates I usually run 14, sometimes 16. Super speedways again the 14-16 range, and then short tracks run about 10. That's what I found more comfortable. I know I talked to like Michael Stroll, and he's completely different than mine. So it's really driver preference, but that's what I've found to work really well.
Basically, for me, if I'm turning the wheel to past 90 degrees on a standard run, that's when I start going to the lower ratios. Other than that, nope, 16. I'm weird. I know I am because I'm the only one on my team that does it that way, but it
Yeah, I mean
works.
it's all driver preference on how well you can do it. I mean, there's still people who can drive a lower ratio steering wheel and still manage to save the tires and stuff. So I mean, it's a fine balance of how to set up a car and how well you drive that car. And that's it's another thing. You're off the throttle more than the other person and able to manipulate the throttle to get back on it. And then the ARCA car, like you said, it is great for that because you can help turn the car. You're able to set the car down with getting off the throttle there. So I mean, there are a lot of different ways that throttle really plays a big deal more than braking or steering does in the ARCA car.
Yeah, I really enjoy the ARCA car. When we first ran it last year for Sportsman before we switched to trucks, I was terrible. So I was a little nervous when we went to the TNT and the ARCA car, but really enjoyed it so far.
Tell us what car you would rather be driving in the Sportsman or in the TNT series.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the ARCA car is a lot of fun. You learn a lot from it. But the big stock cars get a little old. I'd like to see the super late model. Those
I
are
fought so hard trying to get the modifieds for the intermediate season in the TNT, but I was told no because everybody would want to run it.
yeah.
They aren't wrong because I love that car.
I enjoy the Xfinity car, as the NASCAR cars. I mean, I like truck too, but there's just something about the super late and then the tour mod that I just, I'm a really, really big fan of.
Yeah, they're just raw horsepower attached to a tube frame. One of them.
I think they sound sweet. I think they sound sweet too. I like the way the super late for sure sounds.
I mean, and also I think getting out of the mindset of the same cars. I like the ideas of what they were going to do. I think they were going to do, Legends and Street Stock and then ARCA. So you have a fine balance of, getting used to different car craft. And when they took away, the Street Stock due to the craziness of iRacing, of, updating and destroying the car, basically, I was hoping that they would kind of go to something other than, the ARCA car for the second season this year. I was hoping they would switch over to something drastically different, but in the same world, So, but maybe that'll be.
I just look at it as I've absolutely loved the ARCA car because I'll admit I'm not a fan of the truck. I have not. I'm only now, after having run it for over a year every week, I'm only now figuring it out.
Might be the only person I've heard that doesn't like the truck.
I like the truck out of the top 3 series. The Cup car is my second, and Xfinity's at the bottom for me.
Yeah, I like the truck because it's different. You know, it's more user friendly. The Cup car, I feel like it just sucks at most tracks. You know, especially the new drafting packages. It ruined the super speedways, and then there's a lot of tracks that's just boring. Like Michigan, we're wide open pretty much the entire time. It's not fun. The Xfinity car, I think it's the hardest to drive. You really have to drive that thing, and I've really learned that running fuel. It's kicked my ass. Um, so I enjoy it for that aspect, but there's something about the truck that I love running.
It wasn't until we started using the different setups, because I always had issues because every single stock setup from iRacing was so tight that it just made it not fun for me because that does not match my driving style.
Yeah, definitely. It always feels, every time, especially the Cup car. Every time we go in, it's super tight. So, yeah, I'm glad we started switching to run different setups. More neutral even. I prefer a looser setup, but even if we get more neutral than the tight crap that iRacing gets us to run.
Yeah, and
Oh,
we
more.
appreciate you guys up there, spitting out these different setups. I'm looking forward to really deep diving into the Texas setup and try to figure out, where that one runs me at the end of a long run there for it. I know what the iRacing stock setup is, so I mean, hopefully it's going to be way better than that. At the end of a 30 lap run, 30, 35, I forget what the fuel run is for that one.
Hopefully the setup's better. The little bit I helped Johnny test it was pretty good. Johnny usually the ones that comes up with these setups or finds them. He's been doing a pretty good job here lately. Sadly, it's not as good as easy as the ARCA car. The ARCA car, the iRacing setup, I think we've been running, and it's been awesome. Pretty much every track we've ran, just doesn't seem like it translates with the Cup car. I don't know why. But yeah, Johnny's done a pretty good job, especially if you're late, of finding really good setups for the Cup car.
Yeah, the one that I'm most annoyed with was the day that they released the new tire package for all of the stock cars for road. I was actually really happy he had threw me the Mid-Ohio setup, and I made some modifications that I was super jazzed about, and then the tire model update happened and completely threw that out the window.
Yeah. I like the fact that it kind of wears down just a little bit more. Whereas like before you like go out there and run most of the race and go in and it's like, oh look, 92% of my front's cool. That's not realistic at all.
Yeah, but it's like skating to begin with rather than it basically having the cliff that it falls off after a few laps like it seems to do in real life.
Yeah, the Roval on Sunday was loose as shit. That thing was, you basically were on an ice track the entire time.
But did you race the actual official iRacing Roval setup? Because I will tell you that one is even more loose than what we ran because on Tuesdays in IVRL, I was every time I'm coming on the bus stop, I would sit there and be in first gear. By the end of the run, I couldn't be in first gear anymore. I'd spin the tires, and then when I would shift into second, I would spin the tires more. So I commend whoever made that, probably Johnny or Edwards, whoever made that setup was way better on a long run that was able to actually somewhat keep traction. So I valued the grip that I did have on Sunday versus Tuesday night.
Until you put it in the wall.
Yeah, until
Camera.
I locked up brakes with the commentator's curse, just focusing on me for a little bit too long.
I may have been hoping for that, Adam.
Yeah, I bet you did. And I'm like, oh no, Adam had a mistake. Hanner, oh look, there goes Hanner by him. All right, but
No, it was just you didn't get any love. And you were doing well until
yes,
that.
I was sitting in third spot at that point in time in my race until I decided to wheel hop it going into the bus stop and do a front straight dive into the outside wall. So that was fun times. Up until that point, it was actually a fun race, and after that, I was just nursing the tires back all the way home because, yeah, burn the tires up trying to turn around.
So I think the biggest topic of conversation, because yes, the Roval was kind of boring, less a few very, very uncharacteristic shunts that we got to see from certain people that will go unnamed. Though I know one of them's out there in the comments and we've already talked about it, so I'm not going to bring it up again. Wednesday at Michigan, it was like a hornet's nest every single lap around that track.
So I didn't see the Hornets nest until probably like lap 40 to 50. I kept every time a caution came out, which there was way too many cautions that came out in that race. But every time it came out, like our whole entire team just shifted. All right, what can we do from here? If it goes green, what are we gonna do? And we all started making more strategies. Well, if we do it, if we come in top off, and we can make it an X, Y, Z, and we can do this. Do we take tires? Do we save tires? So it was like strategy call, I think all the way up until like, at lap 50, 60, we were all kind of, playing like, all right, let's, conserve. And maybe, at the end we'll have something. And I think, somewhere around lap 50 something, there was a caution that came out like, hey, if we pit now, we only have one more pit till the end. Let's do this. And that's at least when it's like, hey, I'm time to go. Like I want to be in the hornet's nest. I want to go.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. The pack racing pretty much the entire time was a lot of fun. But yeah, with a lot of caution and everything, our strategy as well, Endeavor changed multiple times. It was a nightmare trying to figure out what the hell you're gonna do with strategy. Then obviously at the end, we had that late caution that just ruined everybody's strategy and just pretty much took them out the window. But that was a lot of fun running in the packs like that. Whole race. I was having a lot of fun until I decided I wanted to try to wreck Hanner, and then Netco kind of took over there. But before that happened, I was having a lot of fun too.
We've got John out there saying that it was fun until ZD didn't see him. And
Is that the two that was going through the grass right before
yes, I had a
Yeah.
front row seat to that, and I was just like, wait, John's not blinking right now. What is he doing? And then I watched them go and just like, oh, that's...
Yeah.
I don't want to be in your guys' chat for that one.
But don't worry, there was a caution that came out like literally right after that I was involved in, and they got destroyed. And you were able to, recover from that mistake right there going through the grass. So
yeah, that was funny on Team Chat. I was way behind it, and all of a sudden I see two cars just start going down the grass, and like Blake Gordon from his car, he could see it because he was like, they were like running second and third or something like that. So he's like, "What are you doing, ZD?" And then all of a sudden there's through the grass and John's in the wall. I'm like, "Oh, well, there with that."
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was like indicative of the entire night that every time we would come across the stripe, I'm just like, I'm used to seeing like 2, 3 wide going across this section, but there weren't lines. It was just everybody trying to find whatever space they could.
Oh yeah, dude. Like once I finally got up there in the hornet's nest, I found out what lane not to be, and that's the very bottom on a 3 wide situation. I lost every time. That was a losing battle on every exit because you're at the lowest spot. You're not having somebody give you that draft down the back straightaway or the front at all. So like everybody just left you out to dry. You had no momentum. So yeah. So I found out what lane I didn't want to be put in ever again. And then, I saw Brandon try to get put there at the end, and I was laughing in my head. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah, that was a terrible decision. I lost a couple spots there and really didn't rebound.
No, but that was actually, and we had Justin throw out there that it was fun to see people who don't always run up at the front. Like we had Ross Gage leading a lap. Like so many faces up at the front that I'm just like, did Dre really just tell me that Gage is leading the race?
Yeah. And I was sitting there seeing everybody kept going up there, and then I think I'm finally, after a pit stop, I moved up to 5th, and we're like, all right, let's try this pit strategy. I was like, oh, it sucks giving up this spot, but maybe this pit strategy will work towards the end of the race. We'll only have to pit one more time, whereas everybody else who didn't pit on this one, they're still saving tires mode and don't want to pit just yet. So we'll go in and take care of this. This leaves us with a one-stop race if we go to the green all the way to the end. And guess what? 3 laps later, there goes that, and everybody can come in. And now everybody else can, oh, yeah, I can pit here and make it all the way to the end with one more pit stop, you know. Then it destroyed, ever-evolving pit strategies.
That was terrible. There's so many strategies that could have played out there if we could have stayed green. It's kind of disappointing. At the same time, I was relieved because we have a tendency to lose on strategies. So
I only do well on strategy.
I tell you who was really, really happy about the way everything kind of turned out was Justin Anderson. Justin, on the very first pit stop we went through, or caution, we went through, got fuel only, and then we came back one to go and topped off. Yeah, it rechecked his tires, and he went in and took out a tire set at like lap 3. So he was already at a disadvantage. He's like, well, there goes my race. But the way the cautions fell, being in that draft and having somebody in front of you, behind you, even on the older tires, yeah, you might give up a little bit in the corners, but you have people pushing you. He didn't fall back too terribly, so it kind of worked out for him until the end. I don't know what happened with him. I know he was restarting up there in the very front at the end of those last couple cautions. I don't know how he got shuffled back to 10th or 9th on yeah, whatever.
Justin, I wasn't going to throw that one out there. I
But,
wasn't going to throw you under the bus because, you
but
know what?
he-
We don't
he-
need to know that. He was still beating me for most
That's
of the
what I'm
race,
saying, like,
despite the fact that,
he still came
though
back
I am
through.
ahead of him in the points right now.
He
I gotta
did
throw
come
that
back
one out
through,
there.
and I mean, he still ran up front all night long, even though like he was down on a set of tires. He was able to be up there all night and still battling up front. So I commend him for being able to kind of do that, as I sat in the back and was like, oh, I'm gonna save tires. So
And also, apparently, he had damage that he didn't know about at the end. And I saw it. Your rear was a little folded.
yeah, it was
And
cockeyed
I
to the
thought
top right.
Yeah, I thought your teammates would have told you about that, but
Yeah, Rooster
I'm
was
not your
in the
teammate, so I'm not going to tell you about
Rooster
that.
was riding next to him. I was in the very, very back. I was like, it was like I squinted, could see a white truck. I was like, yeah, that's Justin way up there.
And somehow, despite that, Justin and I were the only 2 people to get away with 0x that entire race. I don't know how.
I did not. I got turned and straight into wall, and as I was coasting down pit road or driving down pit road, my engine decided to blow, and I drove into my pit stall at 3 miles an hour, barely making it to it. So I was just happy to get to my pit stall and use my last fast repair to get me back out on the track.
I doored so many people on accident just because how many times we took it 3 wide, it was always just like, oh,
I got to come in. The netcode gods were on our favor last night for that track, for the amount of
Yeah.
close racing that we did and the slicing and dicing.
yeah.
the only echo that popped up was between me and Hanner, and I just
I have no idea how we made it with so few netcode issues because it's a fast track and just about everybody had a little bit of an erratic line occasionally that, oh, Justin, they were on accident. None of those things were intentional.
Yeah, there was a few slide jobs being thrown around all night long, and then unintentional slide jobs where you weren't sliding to clear somebody, you just slid and hit somebody. Netcode gods were kind of on our favor, and they favored us a little bit, and you actually just kind of got like moved up the track and not just catapulted through the sky and launched off into space like Randy did on that one track. But
No, but it was one of those fun races that it was a little bit on the frustrating side just because of how many cautions there were, but
and Josh is gone. Alrighty. Yeah, it was a frustrating race because of the cautions that were there. I was looking at the thing. We had 9 cautions for the 80 laps. Last year when we ran Michigan, we only had I think we had 7 or 6 caution for 10 fewer laps. So we did a little bit more terrible of a job there this time. But can't change it. We just got to move forward, and hopefully, the wonderful Milwaukee Mile we're going to next week will be a little bit better at.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever had a clean race at the Milwaukee Mile. Ever.
I think I've only raced
Yeah,
there
we-
one time, so I got to put in some laps.
Yeah, same. I don't even remember the track.
Basically, think New Hampshire smaller.
Oh, great.
Yeah, that's gonna be
Yeah,
that really plays into my strong suit of tracks of what I'm really talented at.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's one of those tracks that it's a great time, but I don't like flat
Isn't
tracks.
there's
No.
AI racing there, right?
I don't know.
I hope to God there is. I gotta see how the AI races. They're gonna put them at 150 or something, and see how well they can drive around that track.
Yeah, put it at 150 to where they've lapped you in 3 laps
Yeah.
because they have grip hacks going.
So we were talking. Rooster put up was out there. He put up a AI race for Michigan. He's like, I'm gonna bump up the AI to 90. I was like, well, good luck, dude. They're just gonna pull away. They're gonna have an extra 20 horsepower over you, if not more, and they're just gonna come off the corner. They're just gonna leave you going on the back straightaway. So I think they have though. I think they changed their AI model because at 64% where I normally used to race them, they're sucking. Like at Michigan, I was able to pull like a 3 or 4 second gap after driving through the field, and so I bumped it up to I think 76, 77. So I think they revamped their AI learning skills and what they're actually doing. So I try to make it a little bit more competitive of. Especially like Michigan, I want them to run the same speed I'm running so I can catch the draft and see what the tire wear is going to be like.
I have such little experience with the AI racing that pretty much the only AI racing experience I had was my learning curve to not put them at like 90 originally. And then Brandon, me and Carl had our Dega experience to where they just did nothing but wreck
Oh yeah,
the entire
you
time.
don't in AI you leave cautions off and you throw cautions when you wreck.
Oh, they're wrecking under caution.
That's what I'm saying. You
Like, they were
don't
fine during the race.
you don't ever do that because I've seen them. I think at Michigan they wrecked a couple times behind me, but I don't have a caution set, so like sucks to be you guys. Go in the pit and get fixed and come back on track later.
Yeah, but
That's the only experience I had with the AI.
Anybody out there listening, go out and do AI races. I mean, you're not gonna throw yourself in any harm or danger like if you're doing official racing and AI racing. With like AOLL leagues, you're able to put it at whatever fuel percentage you want. So like Truck Series, you can drop it down that 50% threshold. Cup Series, you can put it at 65%. So you can actually go out there and test like it is instead of actually having to put up a practice server to do it.
No Milwaukee Mile for you, sir.
Damn it. But other than that, it's you're able to do that, and you can put it down to AI of one car and still go out there if you just want to do solo practices, or you can throw it up to 25, 30 cars, and you kind of learn how to race a small track in traffic, so you can try to figure out how to maneuver without killing yourself or killing other people.
You can also set it up to where they avoid you.
Yeah, it's not fun that way though, because nobody else is going to not avoid you in all these other leagues.
For me, it's more entertaining to watch them try to avoid you, and it became a little bit of a game for me to see what situations I could put them in to see what they would do to avoid me. And more often than not, it's if you come up a little bit low but not give them enough space, they just slam themselves into the wall, and it's kind of funny.
I tell you what, in the Truck Series at Michigan, I had them basically I'm looking out my left window, and their door is on my door. Go down the back straightaway in there. They will toss it in there. They were not afraid to put that truck anywhere. So I commend the AI people who are writing these or making them better. because they're able to run. I think we were running 3 to 4 wide there at Michigan and AI versus them just like all following one line going around. Now they were slicing and dicing and running 3 lines. They would switch up to who they were drafting with, so it was pretty cool.
All right, so we've talked a little bit about the Milwaukee Mile, but I think we need some picks.
Well, I hate to say it because, but he got a win this past week, so it doesn't hurt him if he gets another win now. Flat tracks, I think, really go in the well of Mr. Blake Gordon. Can't deny it. So I'm hoping, one of my teammates will come out there and spank him because I know it's not going to be me, but I think it's going to be Mr. Gordon that's going to get this job done at a wonderful flat track.
I can't argue that one, but I have a better pick than you.
My turn.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I won't take Blake because I think I've taken him every single time I've been on the podcast. So I'll take Blake to win Fuel Martinsville. But for the Truck Milwaukee Mile, I think he's quick, and I think he won a couple weeks ago. I'm gonna take Justin. He's always a safe pick. If you're not taking Blake, Justin's a solid pick to take.
I think this is going to be, in my personal opinion, I think this is going to be the week that Mr. Sean Carmody gets the oval win.
He shows up. He's got a good shot.
Yeah, I'm hoping to see him there because I love having him out on track because, yeah, he puts in far too many hours. He's way too good.
Crazy thing is, he puts in all these hours, and, like officials and stuff, for the actual race that day. He'll hop into practice like 10 minutes, 5 minutes before the race starts, and then he'll learn the first half of the race, and then he's in the front somehow.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Is he's just figured that portion out to where he just studies the lines of the people in front of him and somehow figures out the exact breaking point, and he's mastered it the next lap, and then he's around them.
Yeah, I was looking forward to racing him on the Roval because I know, he's pretty good on the road courses. So when it's, I think we were racing around each other for a little bit before that competition, or right after the competition caution. He was able to regroup because I think he made an early mistake, but that caution helped him get back up there. And he was there with me, and I think right before the pit stop, I think I blew the final bus stop, and he took it over there, and he just continued to drive. And when I pitted with everybody else, and I went long, I went a little bit shorter, came back out. I was looking forward to it because he was driving back up to the field, but then I made my stupid wheel hops mistake, and he was long gone, and went up there and ultimately got second that night.
It's insane. Both him and Blake or ZD. It's insane. They didn't grow up watching racing. They maybe watch a little bit now, but they're on dirt bikes and stuff. And all of a sudden they hopped on iRacing, and now they're Sean's got a win in the Cup already, and ZD's run pretty good in TNT and getting his feet finally underneath him in the Truck and Cup car. But yeah, it's nuts to see how well they progressed with how much little knowledge they had of stock car racing and road racing even. But the amount of hours and races that Sean has put in is insane. I went on his iRacing a month ago, and I couldn't believe how many races he's putting in already.
I wish I had time.
I have the time.
Yeah,
and
have time.
I have the time, and most of the time I'm like, well, do I want to go in there and get wrecked? That's my fear. I just don't want to go in and have a bad time. So a lot of times I go into the tracks I like to have fun with, and then all the other ones like, no, I'm not gonna do a Roval official. No, not at all. No, that one's not gonna be fun.
Oh, I don't mind the road officials because after the first half a lap, everybody's spread out. Will I do like an intermediate official, the 1.5 miles? Will you see me on Charlotte? Never.
Oh, I love Charlotte. I'll do that every day of the week. I'll
Oh,
do a
every
Mazda.
single
The
Charlotte
Mazdas at
blast.
Roval is fantastic. I did one of those this been a while since I did that, but the Monsters at the Robles actually a pretty fun car.
Did the 3-hour endurance race that they did there. Carl and I actually split seat time on that. It was fun, but I was glad that I was not the first one in the seat.
Oh, yeah. It's what I was glad that when we did our 24-hour at Daytona, we're like, all right, Blake, you're up first, bud. Have a good one. You know, he was able to go out there and set the pole and get out there and run a whole bunch of laps. And I think I came in, I was like fifth or sixth to drive. And I was like, maybe everything kind of settled down. Everybody's kind of like find their pace at that point in time, whatever. By the time I go in there and drive.
I just didn't want to wreck the thing. That's my only goal.
That was me.
I tapped somebody.
That was my job.
I kind of wrecked somebody, I believe. They were, I drove down to the inside of, I don't remember the turn number, but it's the hard right after the first one. So you go through the little chicane and then you make that kind of loop around to the right. Yeah, I was an LMP and they were like in a Porsche or something. I drove in underneath them and they doored me, and I me being underneath him, and he was really pissed off at me. I'm like, I'm an LMP, you're in like this little slow car, leave me alone. Like,
yeah.
And you were also the one that got the tip going into the bus stop, weren't you?
Can't remember or not. I might have. And then I was also the one where it didn't fuel my tank. So yeah, it was because of that bus stop incident, because I had to come back in. That's what it was. If they would have filled my actual tank up whenever I went into pit road, I wouldn't have been in that issue. But me having to go back in because like, oh, you're gonna run out in like a lap. I'm like, oh, thanks, bud. You're awesome.
Yeah, I want to do that again. We
Oh.
learned. It's the second time it's been brought up tonight.
Oh, I know, and I can't wait for it. I'm hoping to build. This time I only have maybe 4, maybe 5 person team for the 24, and then I maybe have a whole bunch of people, and maybe we'll having 3 to 4 teams or something like that. We'll actually
And everybody end up in the same split
At
to
least
where
maybe
half
two-
of it's
yeah.
friends.
SHR can probably field like 7 different teams, so they have a good shot. They can probably have a whole server themselves.
and we'll all have the same painted car too. So just throw everybody off. He's passing me again. That'd be awesome.
That would be fantastic.
You have like 4 teams of your own team with all the same paint card. Just go buy them. Oh man.
Is it sad that I'm looking forward to that? And the other thing I'm looking forward to is the snowball.
Yeah, it is. Go ahead, Nate. While you're here, man, go ahead and pitch the snowball. There you go. That's a good transition. Thanks, Josh.
That's what I was hoping to do.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we put a post up last week, I believe now, about the super late model derby Endeavor Racing's putting on. It'll be at Five Flag Speedway. December 5th, I believe, is the date. 300 laps. Comp cautions at 1 and 200. Should be a lot of fun. We're hoping to get at least 36 drivers up. That's the field size. Be cool to get more. Have an LCQ. Right now we're up to 20, 21 drivers that are registered. Before the post we had 8, so it jumped from 8 to 22 or 21, whatever. So that's pretty cool to see. We got some money backing in now, so I think at post we had like 100 for the winner, potentially 150 for the winner, and a bunch of contingency awards. And since that post, I think we've had almost $200 added from sponsors and drivers donating. So it should be a lot of fun. Hope to see everybody out. All fuel and AOL drivers are able to join. We have a bunch of AOL right now. I think we only have 2 fuel drivers, so hoping to get a couple more of them. Trying to get the 2 we have to convince their teammates to join. The bad thing is I think the 2 that are joined are on the same team. So to see more of them show up. Yeah. To see more of them show up. They're gonna be super quick, so it'd be cool to see them there.
And guess
It
what?
should be a really fun time.
There is AI racing for 5 flags with the SLM cars. I've already done it. It's the car's a handful, but it's also a blast to be able to sling it around there. I can't wait for it.
Anything in the SLM is a great time.
I've only ran some practice laps there. Blake's run some AI stuff there, and he said it's a bunch of fun. So come out. It's free to enter. We do have a $5 optional one that if you decide to pay the $5, at the end of the race, everybody that's paid the $5 will go into a pool, and then GFM, who's broadcasting it, will do a randomized number, and whoever gets it, or a randomized name, and whoever gets it gets the whole pot there. So if we get like 40 drivers, it's a good number. So $200. So we're hoping to get a good car count. Should be a lot of fun.
I was gonna say, even with 22 at 5 flags, that's a lot of people. And
Yeah.
But yeah, if we can get a full field, that's gonna be it's gonna be a blast no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to make qualifying, paramount, so you can not have to work your way through the field. But those cars, you can beat and bang if netcode gods are on our favor that night, and be able to power your way back to the front.
We really like the super late models, so we're trying to find something to do, some fun race, but actually get guys involved. So with the free entry and the money backing, we're hoping to get it, and so far it's working. So should be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
I gotcha. So
I'm again, modifieds, SLMs, I'm in. Anything with those. Honestly, I love the smaller cars.
I'm going to need like some type of one of those awards made for the retarded people at those short tracks, because that's what I want to win. So because that's the only thing I could win if we create one of those. I don't have the speed.
CCR is offering the contingency for the least incident points.
That's not me. Okay, well, I'll find something else.
Basically, just the most instant points.
Can I start and park it and get 0 incidents and still win that pot of money?
No.
Damn it.
Because, Adam, I will make sure that they just boot you from the server.
Oh, like you try to disqualify me after my win to give it to Brendan.
We tried. Didn't work.
But, so, as much as crap we give Texas, I'm actually looking forward to this Sunday's race. I think the setup that's going to be able to, kind of play in the hands to make the car a little bit faster and a little bit more racier at the beginning. I just wish we had a different aero package. I don't like the aero package that Texas brings. So that once you draft up behind somebody, you can't make that pass. Really, it's very hard to do that. So that's my only negative, I think, about Texas this coming Sunday.
Yeah, that it was just 2 of us in the test session, but that was one thing we kind of focused on with the setup. It's multi-lane. Johnny in the setup or in the test was able to run the bottom pretty well, and I was running that mid-high line. So hoping both lines or all 3 lines being viable, that it'll open up the passing a little bit more, even with the bad arrow.
Yeah, I think we didn't get to see it too much on Tuesday because it was not that big of a field, and then we all got spread out really quickly. But more of a pack racing style, so maybe that will kind of help it out and give a little bit more of a field to kind of make it a little bit racier and having multi grooves work. Because I think in 3 and 4, if you had somebody really 2 or 3 cars on that upper groove working with you, you're able to keep that momentum and make it work with you. But just being a single guy out there with 3 cars on the bottom, you're just gonna get freight trained.
Yeah, definitely. I'm hoping for a good race. It should be better than the iRacing stock setup using, so it's gonna be a plus there. Just for a clean race, and we can maybe go caution free for a while.
Oh, somebody decides to show up with 15 minutes left. Awesome. Somebody out there living
Randy's always welcome, whether it's early or late.
He said, living the rock star life, can't make it on time. Psh.
He said a little bit late. This is more than a little bit late.
Hey, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yes, you are.
I have a trip planned tomorrow, so I had to get some stuff done prior. So.
Oh, you're fine. You joined right as I was going to grab another beverage because I ran out of Gatorade.
Are you coming to visit me in Texas too? Am I getting another surprise?
Why, just because the white, yeah. So we're sharing a 3-way this week.
I got a spare bedroom up there, man. Nobody uses it.
Oh no, I'm sleeping with both of y'all.
It's a futon, man. It's cool.
Crystal will enjoy it, trust me. Hey, Brandon, what's up, man?
Not much.
Good to see you.
Too.
So, you had a good race this week, or no? He won last night.
Well, last night was pretty good.
It was a terrible race for him last night. He doesn't want to talk about that one.
Last night was pretty good. Wednesday wasn't as fun.
Yeah, this week I had too much stuff going on. The only thing I've done is the IVRL, and that's it. Wednesday night went out to Halloween Horror Nights, and last night, what happened to me last night?
You were at a gig again, I think, last night.
Yes, I had something. My life goes. No, I was getting ready for this garage sale I had this morning. So
You gave up broadcasting with me for a garage sale?
Dude, I was making a garage sale because I was the only one running the garage sale today. It was just me, myself, and I out there dealing with these people.
Should have canceled it then.
Well,
I
it
feel
worked
like
out great.
Daytona garage sale would be amazing to be at.
It's during Biketoberfest too, so all we have these bikers running all around in sweaty leather, and the chicks wear these half shirts, and they all weigh about 250, 275, and they got a half shirt on. So
you got to commend their confidence in that, though.
yeah.
But I
Just-
can only imagine the
it
smell of the leather.
It would be like Brandon putting on a half shirt and a pair of those little blue jean shorts.
Yeah,
It's
nobody
with
wants to see
Daisy
that.
Dukes. That's pretty much what I see.
But isn't
feel sorry
that
for you then.
just standard Daytona, though?
It's just Daytona, period. It's just Daytona. You're either extremely fat and you wear the wrong clothes, or you're extremely skinny because you're doing meth or coke all day long, or crank or something. That's Daytona. People move from wherever, up north for two things. One, because they get kicked out of their house, they have nowhere else to go because they're all strung out on drugs. Or two, they're a biker and they say, man, this place seems like it's really cool. So we're going to move to Daytona and just take over, and we're just going to be bikers forever.
Well, you can ride year long. You can't do that in Northeast Ohio.
No, you can't. That's very true.
But we also don't have hurricanes, so
Exactly.
I'll take
Yeah.
my occasional blizzard.
Justin asked, does the girls have hair like Brandon up there as well?
The girl, actually, I was just in Walmart. My wife had to take me to Walmart. So we went to Walmart, and they either kind of look like, Brandon, this girl had a bustier top on with a pair of short shorts with her hair colored kind of like mine, but 5 different colors, and kind of a beard type thing going on her face.
And you're like,
With her-
you're revving my engine, baby.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, okay, dude, and he was with that, whatever. And then there was another girl in there with her so-called service dog dragging the dog through Walmart.
Dog doesn't want to be with her.
And
either.
she's about this big around. Yeah.
Oh,
My daughter, I tell you what, my daughter can't stand people that have so-called service dogs. A service dog has to perform a task. If you see somebody walking into a store or some kind of event and they're holding their dog like this and they say service dog on them, they're not a service dog. They're an emotional support dog. Different dog. Totally different thing. One is regulated and the one is not. So
one's
I
actually supposed to do
spent-
something for you. One just provides you comfort.
yeah,
I
and
spent
that's
an entire flight from Cleveland to Seattle next to a woman that had a emotional support cat on the flight.
Yep.
It was the most obnoxious thing I have ever experienced in my life.
I actually saw something with an emotional support ferret.
At least they're original.
Oh man, I think the only time I've ever been to Bike Week at Daytona was by accident. We were visiting Disney World in October, and Dad's like, "Hey, let's go over to Daytona and see Daytona." So we get there and it's like, holy crap, it's Bike Week. We chose the wrong week to show up here.
Actually, any week is the wrong week.
I mean, hey, we're going to see, go see Daytona Speedway. So I mean, at least we're doing something, seeing the popular attraction there in Daytona.
Yeah, absolutely. That is the only attraction to Daytona. Unless you go down to Main Street, and then Main Street is what it is. It's a cesspool of smells like so everybody pissed all over the street and all that fun stuff, which they did. So
So in other words, the Daytona Tourism Board is not going to be sponsoring us anytime soon.
I hope they don't. Maybe Ormond Beach or Port Orange. I'm fine with that, but not Daytona or Holly Hill. I mean, Holly Hill's all right. Actually, they're trying to make that place better, but Daytona, no. They have no plans.
So we scratch off Daytona, New Hampshire.
No,
who
Nick's
else?
now Nick's come back around to New Hampshire, I think.
Yeah, but I haven't. I trashed him, and he's like, "Well, there we go." I trashed him on here.
I basically look at that for the entirety of New England, really.
So yeah, that's fun times.
Brandon, you got any place that you hate?
Not really. I don't travel a whole hell of a lot, so
I'm just saying New Hampshire because of their speedway. It's not just
That's
because
true.
of the
That's
people
true.
there. It's just the New Hampshire speedways. We'll never get them to fund or sponsor us here at Ghost Fire Media.
I'd say Iowa, but I work in Iowa, so I have a love-hate relationship there.
Oh, see, I have that, surprisingly, the weirdest place that I have a love-hate relationship with is La Crosse, Wisconsin. It's an old river city that it's actually where, oh God, I can't remember I want to say it's J&B Performance Motorcycle Parts is based out of, can't remember. But I had to go there for work because my company bought a company there and we were moving offices, and it's hilarious. I love the city. It's so Midwestern that I absolutely loved it because it was basically on a Saturday night, everybody's at the bar and everybody's friendly, and it was just an absolutely amazing time. I just hate the airport. It is it's the weirdest airport that I've ever been to. Security opens only a half an hour before your flight's supposed to leave. And my wife had a flight out of there one time that they ended up canceling it, so she ended up having to drive to Minnesota. The one time I was there, security opens a half an hour before, and then I'm stuck there for 3 hours at the bar, and I made some friends.
I'm sure you did.
But it was an absolutely great time. But the flight after that was miserable because, drunk on a flight from La Crosse to Chicago and then a 2-hour layover in Chicago, even though I was 3 hours late, was a blast. So I just ended up meeting up with a bunch of guys at the bar that were on leave, or I think they were Army. I can't remember. Got even more drunk and then passed out on the plane and had to have a flight attendant poke me awake to get to my car after we landed.
Have you guys got that channel Reels? Have you ever seen the show Dark Side of the Ring? You seen that?
No.
Basically it just tells about the grim side of professional wrestling. And each week they have these different stories. Well, there's one of the latest ones is the plane ride from hell. And it's all these wrestlers that came back from Europe, and they basically took over this chartered airline and basically just completely trashed the living hell out of this airline. And Ric Flair was strutting up and down the aisle in nothing but a robe on. and he was pulling his robe open and helicoptering his privates so everybody could see it. And he supposedly got up against this airline stewardess and was helicoptering around her and telling her to touch it, which she claims that didn't happen. A couple of guys said it didn't happen. She says it did happen. The whole story, he says, she said type of thing. But if you get a chance to watch it, it actually is on YouTube. Watch it. It's pretty interesting. The stuff that they did on this plane flight. I mean, fighting, like spiking putting drugs in other wrestlers' drinks so they pass out and they start puking on each other. Just like hell. So, but it's a good show. So, anyways, I just thought you talking about plane.
Oh, I could tell you some fun stories, like a very late Southwest flight from Baltimore to Chicago one time that apparently I was on there with a bunch of frat guys that had free drink tickets.
Oh, that's bad. No, I can already tell that's not good.
Oh yeah, it was very entertaining.
I'm sure. Yeah, remember, Daytona used to be the spring break capital of the world. And I used to play all those bars, all those spring breakers. I've seen what they do.
I mean, I've been to Daytona one time in my life, and it was for that purpose.
Exactly. I knew it. I knew that's exactly what you were going to say. There's only two things you do during spring break. One, get drunk. Oh, well, three, actually sleep. And the other, chase tail the whole time you're around Daytona.
It's
That's
also
it.
the only time I've technically been arrested, but I don't have anything on my record because I didn't have an ID on me because there was nowhere to keep it.
Were you? Oh,
Frank the
you
tank.
were not.
Frank the
Oh.
tank. Frank the tank.
You were running around naked?
No, I was in a Speedo.
Oh my God. Can you imagine Josh in a Speedo?
At that time in my life, I was actually in really good shape. I'm
But
not
still,
now.
I mean, come on. Nobody wears a Speedo, dude.
Hey, I
Your
will
car
take
needs
that
to be
back.
sponsored by Speedo.
I was in Thailand. We were at this one hotel, and we were the military that said to say us at, and there was so many Russians there, and the Russian men love Speedos. They love them. There was a dude who was probably about 300 pounds, running after his little toothpick skinny woman there in Thailand, chasing them down towards the beach area. I mean, luckily, they actually put us up in, a decent hotel that was on the beach, but they put us lower enlisted guys in the shittiest part where they had like the rooms basically almost touched everybody. You could hear what the guy 7 rooms down was doing from you because the walls were paper thin, and all the officers they lived in like the newer part of the resort. That's where they got to stay. But us lowly people, we were in like the early stages of the resort before they became big. But yeah, the Russian men they love Speedos. So yes,
I
they're
hung like bear.
and apparently,
Brandon, any good stories you got for us?
No, not really. No, I'd
Really?
no
Nothing good.
nothing that to top anything you guys just went over. So
How about last night's game? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat the Eagles.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's dirty.
hey, it's closer than I thought it was going to be. So that's the only plus I got.
I agree with you there. I didn't think it was going to be that close. I was like, man, when they're coming back in third quarter, I'm like, oh, this might actually be a better game than I'm thinking it's going to be. So,
That was the only
maybe
part
if-
I watched.
Maybe if Sirianni knew how to run the damn ball, they would have a shot. But yeah, it was a
Well,
lot closer than I thought it was
Tampa's-
going to be. I thought it was going to be a blowout. So
yeah. Well, I mean, Tampa's had their ups and downs. I mean, they've won their games, but they haven't been that powerhouse the whole entire game. I mean, they lost the one game. And the other games, I mean, last week against New England, they barely won that game. So, and that should have been a blowout, but they didn't play very well. So, but anyways, they did play decent enough last night to beat your Eagles. So,
yeah, that's not too hard to do.
Hey, you're 2-4 now.
I'm looking forward to that top 5 pick they're going to get.
Yeah, that's always the good thing. You want to
Jaguars
Hopefully
are
we got-
still
to that.
holding it in there for that first, the top pick again for the second season straight.
Yeah, they're going to probably need a new coach too. Urban Meyer's not proving very much other than he can dance with other women.
There's a reason why he ended up leaving OSU too.
Why is that? What was the rumors there? No, they're just rumors.
Yeah, pretty much. You
Just
put
rumors
him
of
on a college
video of him
campus.
dancing with another woman. That's just rumors of video evidence.
Rumors and
Yeah.
video evidence. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we actually, the NFL had two coaches that were under controversy. Now John Gruden left the Raiders for something he had said 11 years ago. And from what I read, I mean, it could be considered bad, but back then it was kind of like, no, it's just typical BS with a couple guys against each other.
In
But-
private.
In private, exactly. I mean, I don't know why they're pulling our private stuff out to go against us, but they are. And Dave Chappelle got into his little thing about the transgender person. I actually got in trouble the other night. And I'm serious with this. So nobody come after me because I said this, because I truly
Do we
did
need a
not
dump button?
know.
Do we need a dump
Huh?
button?
No, we don't need a dump button. I'll just let you know. And if I offend you on this, I'm honestly sorry because I did not know this was an offensive word. But I was at Universal on Wednesday night, and I was riding Men in Black, and I had a couple women next to me.
You're riding Men in Black. What were their
Men in-
names?
Well, this kind of ties into that. Now, I guess you want to talk about that. So there were two girls
Two guys.
that used to be guys. Now they're transgender. Well, they were telling me, they told me they love me, and they said, you're so much fun, and we enjoy hanging out with you. How about you come party with us? We'll show you the best party you've had, blah, blah, all this stuff. And I said, I have to pass because my daughter is here at Universal, and I have to go meet up with her, but I wish I could. You guys are a lot of fun, too. You guys have a great night. Well, when I got back to my daughter, who were with her two other cast members from Disney, and Disney is a very, very liberal. The people there cast members are very liberal for the most part. And I went back and I said, yeah, I said these two trannies try to pick me up back up on the ride, not realizing that tranny was an offensive word because, I mean, my niece never say that. My niece is now a nephew. Never ever said. I said that to him, and he never said anything back to me. So I never thought it was an offensive word. But my daughter immediately,
I told you, punched you in the throat.
oh my gosh, she was throat punching, Russian bowling me, and the whole 9 yards. Dad, you can't say that word. That's offensive. I was like, what word? What word? That word you just said. I go, tranny? And she goes, they're called transgender. And I went,
Yeah, those two Men in Black that you rode.
Here's the one thing
well,
that I
they
will
were,
tell you.
those two girls were black. And they
If
were
it is
very fun, I would have hung out with them. I truly would have.
if it was a learning experience, that's all that.
Exactly.
everybody-
I learned something. I did not know that word was offensive. Did you guys all know that was an offensive word?
I did, but
You did.
yeah, but it's one of those things that if you don't know, you don't know, and now you
I
know.
did not know. I do know.
So,
I know.
so if we want to talk controversy, I think we should bring it a little bit back on topic. Let's go to the real Roval race and Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, Nick's
I
favorite
feel like
topic.
we've got some good opinions here because I just saw Brandon smile.
So I'll lead it off. So, it was a perfect opportunity. There's been, somebody, stated that like, well, maybe, Chase was fighting a loose car. His wheel was turning left and right there, going over that turn. Cause you your car gets off balance there. Maybe he was fighting it and kind of checked up a little bit, and Harvick just didn't check up enough and got into him. Or was Harvick on the gas? I mean, there's so many different ways, but either way, karma got him.
Karma.
Yeah, I'm a Chase Elliott fan, so I'm a little biased, but I used to like Harvick, so it sucks seeing those two go at it. But I think the whole thing kind of got blown up proportion from Bristol. Honestly, I mean, Chase was upset, but he did a similar thing to Logano, last year. Then I don't think what Chase really did to Kevin was all that bad either. Pass him if you're faster than him. Pass him. He was running his line. He wasn't slowing you up that much. Larson likely could have caught you anyways. I think Kevin blew way out of proportion, and with his whole comment about Chase calling him a 9-year-old and basically that Keelan. But yeah, I mean, that situation, I don't know really how you argue that Kevin didn't purposely dump him. Just knowing who Kevin is and his history, that was 100% on purpose. He saw his shot. He knew he needed to something happen to Chase to try to take Chase's spot in the playoffs, and took advantage of it. I'm glad to see the young guys like Chase stick up for himself.
I think he would have still pointed his way in if he didn't, crash his car. I think he still would have pointed his way in, and I think Elliott was able to point himself in the way the rest of the race went from that point on. But if you're gonna punt somebody, punt him. He barely tapped him there and got him loose, and he hit the wall and was able to recover. If you're gonna dump somebody to wreck him out of the race, wreck him out of the race. Don't do half-ass, man. Just go far. Don't give him the tip. Go tires deep.
Well, I think that was ultimately looking at the in-car, because I have no affiliation with either of them. Unfortunately, that little bit of a blip of the throttle right as he goes in, it's pretty telling. To where if he would have done any more to fully dump him, it would have been blatantly obvious, rather than, okay, he started to get into the throttle to start going into the turn a little bit more, and he went for the full dump.
I knew he was going to do that sooner or later. I mean, payback, that's basically what he was trying to do. And
I think I would have waited till turn one. I think turn one would be your best opportunity if you're gonna do that. You just like, oh crap, I locked my brakes up, and slide into him or something like that, and which it propels him forward. It slows your momentum down. You turn left and continue to go. But that's where I would have done it if I'm gonna try to give a payback. I would have waited till that point. I mean, where he did, his car was off centered, off balanced right there to the transition of that downhill to uphill to the, making that left-hand turn there. His car was, kind of off centered. But yeah, I waited till turn one. That's where I would have dumped him.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, no. It's cool to see Chase stick up for himself, though. A lot of the young guys, he's always got that rep that he never did, and now he finally is. So I kind of like to see that. But it sucks that Chase isn't just become a Chase fan, but it's definitely something NASCAR needed. Two Chase drivers going at it. The most popular driver in NASCAR is involved. So it definitely helped the sport itself.
My other controversy that I have is on Chase is that he's got a flapping rear bumper for 4 laps. Yeah. That's just there, and they didn't black flag him to come in. It's coming up. We still have 15 laps to go. It's not hanging on. Come on now, NASCAR. It's not hanging on for 15 laps. They just like, oh, we're not going to black flag him. Oh, no, it came out. Oh, no, this is going to help him get all the way back up to the front and catch back up and have a chance to actually get in the playoffs. That's my controversy. I'll put my tinfoil hat on, is that NASCAR...
That's my job.
NASCAR decided to not black flag him, hoping it would throw a caution to re-rack everything to give him a chance, because where he was sitting way back there, he didn't have a shot after he got wrecked. So my tinfoil hat says they just let it go and was hoping that would fall off sooner than later and get a good caution there. They were hoping that the camera crew like Dale Jr. and them weren't going to be focusing on them like they were. And when they were like, man, I don't know why they're not black flagging them. Man, I've seen other cars get black flagged like this. Yeah, I don't know why they're not black flagging them. Maybe they don't think it's going to fly off. Like the camera crew and the booth up there were all saying the same thing.
Yeah, I definitely think you could question that. It's a pretty questionable move. But I think it's something NASCAR's done, for years now. I mean, it just adds another layer to the drama that they need.
Well, I mean, how upset would they be if NASCAR's Golden Boy is not in the playoffs? I mean, how many fans would stop watching the last 5 races or 4 races there if Chase Elliott is now no longer locked in?
Yeah, I didn't realize that he actually did make it.
Yeah, because
Once
once the field got called back up to the caution, he was able to drive back through the field because I mean his car was just visually damaged. Functionally, it was still there, and he was still able to compete. But he was just so far back at the time when his parts were flying off. There was no spots to pick up. So once they re-racked and stacked them, he was able to start flying through the field like like a good road course guy he was.
Yeah, well, at the point of Kevin's wreck, he was still out of it because there's an in-car audio of Chase's crew saying that if Kevin doesn't finish, you advance, and Kevin didn't finish. So I think the final spot came down to those two. I think.
No, I think afterwards, Brad Kozlowski spun around and
Yeah.
somebody else had a unfortunate accident there because I think Chase was like 2 spots ahead of the cut line there at the end.
That might be, yeah. I know at one point in time when they were run by each other, it was between those two because Chase has some comment that you won't have to worry about that, and then Kevin took care of it himself.
Oh yeah.
So the top 8 that were going to advance: Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex, Ryan Blaney, Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, and Brad Keselowski. Those are the guys that are actually going on.
Yeah.
Who's your pick, guys?
Mine is Ryan Blaney. I know he's not going to get it done, but that's what I'm going to go for.
I think
Cornholio.
final 4 I have Larson, Chase, Blaney, and Denny. I think it's between Larson and Chase. They're going to build win into Phoenix. I think those two are the best cars there.
Oh, we got to get through these last few races. We got
I-
Martinsville coming up too.
I think
that's
I think Denny has a shot finally. I think his momentum is dependent on swinging towards him this time around. So I hate to say it, I don't really like Denny Hamlin that much, but I think that the pendulum is swinging his way right now.
Yeah,
Well, I
of
think
the final 8, as long as Denny or Logano don't win it, I'll be okay.
Denny
I think
or
Larson-
Logano.
I think Larson and Denny, unless something crazy happens, are safe bets for the final 4. The other 2 spots are kind of for grabs.
Out of those guys that I mean, once again, I have kind of personal contact with a lot of these guys. Martin Truex is cool. Kyle Larson's super cool. Ryan Blaney's super cool. Chase is cool. I've played ball with him before. Logano's cool. Kyle Busch, can't stand him. Denny Hamlin, can't stand him. You're not standing.
I forgot about Kyle Busch. Yeah, I had him to that list of
Yeah.
drivers I don't want to see win it.
Yeah, I mean, I would just assume that Denny, Kyle Busch, and Brad Keselowski all get knocked out, and then the other one to go. Oh gosh, I hate to see any of the other guys go out.
I was going to say, I just from not necessarily being a lifelong NASCAR fan, just somebody that's okay, I've started watching in the past 2 years. Like, just from what I've seen, I love his style, like Truex.
Martin's a good guy, and actually, if we're gonna cheer for some of these guys, and all realistic, I mean, Martin has been sim racing. I mean, actually, he was discovered as pretty much a sim racer.
No, that's
So-
why just watching back last year, watching the E series with the pro invitationals and all of that, just watching somebody that seemed to just naturally pick up what I love to do.
Well, he's doing it longer than you've been doing it, so
Oh, yeah.
I haven't been a big fan of Martin Truex since his Michael Waltrip days running his organization. I don't know. I just didn't like him there. And then, I mean, he's a great guy. Like he seems like he's a down to earth, good hearted person. I've just never been able to root for him. since his days over at Michael Waltrip Racing.
Yeah, I actually raced with him back online back on 10. I mean, him and Junior used to be on 10 all the time. And so I raced with him back then. And he was always pretty cool back then, you know. I mean, it was pretty funny back when those guys were racing on 10 and then racing on the weekends running in the Bush series. They would actually use strategy that they learned in the sim to translate to the actual thing. Pretty neat.
Now, so what you missed earlier here is we had Boomer Logan from Fuel, who used to race with Eric Jones back in his was it
The quarter midgets.
quarter midgets?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Eric's pretty cool. He's not bad. He's a guitar player, so we like Eric. Keep trying to sell him a guitar. He hadn't bought a guitar from me yet, though. I'm trying.
He's trying to sell you one, but
Yeah,
Or
I'm
no.
trying. Yeah, I'm trying to hook him up with a guitar. He's got several guitars, and I've been trying to get him to buy a guitar from the Guitar Addict. Maybe when I see him in Phoenix, I'll try again.
when Randy's gonna remote in with famous friends that he's constantly name dropping.
I'm hoping I'm going to do that. Pat just dropped a bomb on me. We're going to play Tuesday night. I know we're going to do that with the Pit Road Pickers. And then he told me Wednesday and Thursday I should go to Vegas and enjoy my time. So I'm going to go to Vegas for a couple days and then come back Friday night when we do the podcast. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it because they told me we're going to probably be at the racetrack with the Brant guys. And maybe if I'm doing that, maybe Junior will be there. I know Allgaier will be there. So maybe we'll get all these guys on
Just
the
name dropping.
podcast. I'm just saying this could happen.
Is this coming Friday?
I don't think you can
No,
just subtly drop
about 3
Junior's
weeks.
name like that.
Well, I'm just saying he might show up for that. It's a Brant which he sponsors, or his car is sponsored by Brant. And Kelly has been there. I mean, I met Kelly numerous times. And but you never know. Maybe we'll,
Basically, that you've just baited Nick, making sure he shows up that week.
you know what they call this? Have you guys been watching the show Clickbait? Anybody watch that on Netflix? It's actually a pretty cool little thing. Good show to watch. Little mini series that they're doing on there. So it's called Clickbait. So
yeah, that was a good series.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing here. We're so make sure in about 3 weeks when I'm out in Phoenix to tune into the show, and who knows who I'll bring on. If I'm even able to get on, for who knows. If I'm on, it will be on my phone.
All right. Well,
So the audio
Doesn't
will
matter.
suck.
All right,
It's one of those things that, as we're 17 minutes over,
that's what I'm saying. We're getting late here in Ghost Fire Media. Since Randy didn't give us the intro, how about Randy give us the exit?
The exit. All right. Hey guys, thanks for watching tonight. Sorry I was late, but you guys had a great show with Adam and Josh and Brandon. Thanks for joining us once again. And sorry I interrupted your party.
Yeah, anytime. Anytime you guys want me on, I'll be on.
All right, sounds good, man. And congratulations on another win last night.
Thanks.
Too bad you beat the Guitar Addict Chevrolet behind you, but it's okay.
I thought he was coming.
He was trying. But anyways, thanks for
we
watching.
gotta do one real quick thing. Quick
What do we
picks
got?
for Texas.
Oh yeah, we gotta
Just
do
quick
picks
around the horn.
Yeah, that's right. Real quick.
We'll start with Randy. I went first last time.
Oh God, Dan Shirley.
He doesn't race Sunday nights anymore.
Oh, that's right. You quit. Dang
Yeah,
it. Why is that?
work.
I was gonna say Josh Hanner, but I don't think he runs Sunday.
Yeah,
Oh,
see
he'll
that.
be there.
Okay, so Josh Hanner. Which I'll
Good.
probably see Josh Hanner in a couple. He's gonna come down and see me. So Josh, if you're watching, I got an SG coming in.
He's the one that actually
Yeah.
reminded me that to do this. I gotta go with the winner the last time we were there, Mr. Josh Hanner.
Okay, so I was
And-
right. See?
His comment was, "Hell yeah, I'll be in Daytona."
All right, got an SG coming in.
All right, Brandon.
Well, I was gonna take Hanner, but since you two took him, I'm not going to. I'm gonna go with Greg Welland. He's been pretty quick,
Not a
especially in
spoiler.
intermediates.
Yeah, I'm gonna
He's done it
choose.
already once.
I'm gonna choose another one of my teammates. I'm gonna go with Brian McFerrin. He's been showing some great speed lately, and I think he's gonna get out there and run a lot of practice laps. I think he's gonna be up front, be a man to contend with this Sunday.
Hey, while we're talking about your teammates, you lost a teammate, and teammate came back to the rejects this week. Johnny Downey, who was on Still Horse, left and came back to.
Yeah, I'm surprised you guys let him back.
Well,
He
he's a
missed you.
reject now. We figured he got rejected from Steel Horse, so now he
Okay.
kind of fits in with us with the whole thing. We're all a bunch of rejects. Nobody wants us, so.
Reject means he would have got fired from the team.
Well, we
Yeah.
don't really know what the real story was.
Yeah.
We'll never really know.
He left the team, so
Okay.
so he's not a reject. So he decided to leave the team to go back to your team.
Well, he's
He
a
likes you
reject
guys
now because
more.
we changed the name. The team is now the Rejects. We're not Response. We're just all a bunch of rejects of some sort. Degenerates. So,
All right.
all right.
I think it's time to wrap it up.
Yeah, let's get out of here, guys. All right. So you've been watching the Ghostfire Media podcast. And don't forget, if you missed any part of the podcast tonight, you can listen back on YouTube, podcasts on iTunes. I did not know this. Did you guys know this? You can listen back on iTunes?
Anchor puts that thing everywhere. It's awesome. Anchor.
Yeah.
On
aware of
Spotify. Does not put it on Spotify.
It's
It
on
does say-
Spotify. It's on Spotify.
Last few weeks hasn't been on there because that's where I listen to it.
Really hadn't been on there. We need to check that out then. But so it's on several different platforms, and if you missed any part, please listen back, and you can
Spotify.
listen back to many of the other. Yeah, there it is.
Is the latest one on there? Because it's feel like it's a few weeks old now.
I have to check to see.
Something's
So-
not getting notifications anymore.
But you can, if you can look on podcasts on your phone too. It's on a lot of different other platforms as well. So, anyways, thanks for watching, and we will see you next week here on the Ghostfire Media Podcast. I'm Randy Pepper, Adam Wood, Josh Lassen, and Brandon Berthart stopping by, and the other guests. Thanks for everybody else that stopped by tonight. We will see you next week here at 8:00 again on the Ghostfire Media Network. See ya.
Thank you for watching iRacing on the Ghostfire Media Network.
Did I get it out in time?